What if I told you that right now, as you prepare yourself for these next 4 hours of sleep on this second night of January 2026, you hold in your hands the most powerful and fastest spiritual tool to transform poverty into wealth that was ever taught by Florence Scovel Shinn. A law so simple it seems impossible that it could work, yet so devastatingly effective that people have completely transformed their financial lives in a matter of days simply by applying it while they slept. Tonight, something extraordinary is about to unfold. You're not just going to bed on another ordinary night. You're stepping into what I call the sacred portal of substitution. That miraculous space between waking and sleeping where your subconscious mind becomes perfectly receptive, where old programming dissolves like morning mist, and where new consciousness of wealth gets installed so deeply that by the time you wake up on January 22nd, just 21 nights from now, you will be a completely different person financially. Let me be very clear about what's going to happen over these next 4 hours as you rest. This is not just a meditation to help you relax or fall asleep peacefully, though it will absolutely do that. This is complete subconscious reprogramming based on the fastest spiritual law for manifesting money that Florence Scovel Shinn ever taught, the law of substitution. Here's what makes this law so powerful and why it works specifically during sleep. You see, most people try to fight their negative thoughts about money. They try to suppress them, ignore them, overcome them with willpower. And what happens? The thoughts come back stronger, because what you resist persists. What you fight, you feed with energy. But the law of substitution is completely different. You don't fight the negative thought. You don't try to push it away. You simply, calmly, instantly replace it with its opposite. "I don't have enough money" appears in your mind, and you immediately substitute it with "I am divinely supplied, money flows to me now." That's it. No battle, no struggle, just substitution, like changing channels on a television. One thought out, another thought in. And here's why doing this during sleep is so powerful. Actually, let me be more specific. Why doing this right before sleep and then letting it continue while you sleep is the most effective manifestation practice that exists. During the day, your conscious mind is active, analytical, skeptical. It questions every affirmation. "I am rich." Your conscious mind immediately argues, "No, you're not. Look at your bank account." That resistance blocks the programming from reaching your subconscious. But right now, as you're lying here preparing for sleep, as these next minutes and hours unfold, your conscious mind is going to gradually shut down. You're going to pass through alpha, that relaxed state where the critical mind softens. Then theta, that magical state between waking and sleeping, where you're basically in natural hypnosis, where your subconscious is wide open with zero resistance. And finally, delta, deep sleep, where your brain literally reconstructs itself based on whatever input it received before you fell asleep. So when you practice substitution right before sleep, replacing every thought of lack with a thought of abundance, and then you continue listening to this audio as you sleep, you're planting seeds in the most fertile soil that exists, your subconscious mind. And during the night, those seeds germinate, grow roots, and by morning they've become part of your automatic thought patterns. This is neuroplasticity in action. Your brain physically changes during sleep. Old neural pathways associated with scarcity get dissolved. New neural pathways associated with abundance get constructed. And science confirms what Florence Scovel Shinn knew 100 years ago. It takes 21 days of consistent repetition to create permanent new neural patterns. That's why you're committing to 21 nights. Not because it's a nice spiritual number, but because that's literally how long it takes for your brain to rewire itself completely. Now, before we go any deeper, before you drift off to sleep, I need you to do 3 very important things while you're still fully awake and conscious. These 3 actions are not just for the algorithm or for engagement, though they do help this video reach more people who need it. These 3 actions are actually part of the manifestation process itself. They're declarations to the universe. They're energetic commitments that activate forces in your favor. First thing, click the like button below this video right now. I know you might be lying in bed in the dark, but reach for your phone or device and press that thumbs up. This is not a small thing. This is you telling the universe, yes, I choose abundance. Yes, I accept transformation. Yes, I'm ready to substitute poverty consciousness with wealth consciousness. It's a declaration. Make it now. Second thing, turn on notifications for this channel. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to wake up tomorrow morning, January 3rd, 2026, and something will feel different. Not necessarily in your external circumstances yet, though sometimes that happens immediately. But something internal will have shifted. You'll feel calmer about money, more hopeful. And tomorrow night, you're going to return here for night 2, and the night after for night 3, all the way through to night 21 on January 22nd. This becomes your nightly portal, your wealth activation chamber. So make it easy to find. Turn on those notifications now. And third, this is the most important one. Go down to the comments section right now and write these exact words. I commit to 21 nights starting tonight, January 2nd, 2026. Your city, your country. Let me tell you why this matters so much. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that your word is your wand. When you speak something, or in this case, write something, you're not just communicating with other people. You're communicating with the universe. You're instructing invisible forces about what you're calling into manifestation. That comment is not a comment. It's a decree. It's a spell. It's a contract with your higher self and with divine intelligence. And here's something powerful that happens when you write it publicly in the comments. You'll see hundreds, maybe thousands of other people making the same commitment. People from Brazil, from Portugal, from Angola, from all over the Portuguese-speaking world, all committing to 21 nights starting tonight. You become part of a collective energy field. You're not doing this alone. You're doing it with a tribe, and collective intention amplifies individual manifestation exponentially. So pause this audio if you need to. Take 30 seconds. Go write that comment. I commit to 21 nights starting tonight, January 2nd, 2026, your location. And then as you progress through the 21 days, come back and update. Night 3 completed. 1 week down. Halfway there. Day 14. 21 nights complete. Here's what manifested. Those updates keep you accountable, keep the energy active, and inspire others. Do it now. Write it now. Commit now. The universe is listening. All right, now let me explain exactly what's going to happen in your brain over these next 4 hours. Because when you understand the mechanism, your faith strengthens, and strengthened faith accelerates manifestation. We're going to merge cutting-edge neuroscience with ancient spiritual wisdom, and you're going to see that they're saying the exact same thing in different languages. Your brain right now is operating in what scientists call beta waves. Beta is the frequency of normal waking consciousness, analytical, logical, skeptical. It's the state where you balance your checkbook, have conversations, make decisions. Beta is dominated by your conscious mind, which according to neuroscientists controls only about 5 to 10% of your actual behavior. The other 90 to 95%? That's controlled by your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is like a massive supercomputer running programs that were installed mostly before you were 7 years old. Programs about money, about what's possible for you, about whether you deserve wealth, about how hard you have to work to survive. Those programs are running right now, creating your financial reality automatically without you even being aware of them. And here's the problem. You can't reprogram the subconscious from beta state. Your conscious mind can know intellectually that you deserve wealth. But if your subconscious is programmed with money is scarce, or rich people are greedy, or I'll never have enough, that subconscious programming wins every time. It's like trying to sail east when the wind is blowing west. You can work really hard and make a little progress, but you're fighting against a much more powerful force. But here's where it gets beautiful. As you relax right now, as you lie here listening to my voice with your eyes closed, preparing for sleep, your brain is beginning to shift out of beta. You're dropping down into alpha waves, around 8 to 12 hertz. Alpha is the frequency of deep relaxation, meditation, light trance. In alpha, your conscious mind starts to quiet down. That critical voice that says, "This won't work," begins to fade. You become more receptive, more open, more suggestible in the positive sense. And then, as you drift closer to sleep, you enter theta, 4 to 8 hertz. Theta is the magical state. It's the state of deep meditation that monks train for years to reach. It's the state of hypnosis. It's the state young children are in most of the time, which is why they're so programmable, why they absorb everything like sponges. And it's the state you naturally pass through twice every single day, once while falling asleep, and once while waking up. In theta, your subconscious mind is wide open. There's no filter, no resistance, no critical voice saying, "That's not true." Whatever input comes in during theta goes straight into the subconscious and gets accepted as true. This is why hypnotherapy works. This is why affirmations right before sleep are 1,000 times more powerful than affirmations during the day. And finally, you'll descend into delta, 0.5 to 4 hertz. Delta is deep, dreamless sleep. This is where your brain does its most profound work. Your neurons fire in synchronized waves. Cerebrospinal fluid washes through your brain, clearing out metabolic waste. And most importantly for our purposes, your brain reorganizes itself. It's called neuroplasticity. New synaptic connections form based on what you focused on before sleep. Old connections that aren't being reinforced get pruned away. Scientists at Harvard and MIT have done studies showing that whatever you focus on in the 30 minutes before sleep gets consolidated into long-term memory and wired into your brain structure during the night. That's not spiritual theory. That's hard neuroscience. What you plant before sleep grows during sleep. So here's what's happening tonight and for the next 20 nights. You're listening to this audio about the law of substitution as you fall asleep. You're passing through theta, that wide-open state, with messages of abundance flooding your consciousness. You're entering delta with the last input being, "I am wealthy, money flows to me, I substitute all lack with abundance." And during the next 6 to 8 hours, your brain is literally rewiring itself to think like a wealthy person automatically. Florence Scovel Shinn didn't have access to brain scanning technology or neuroscience labs. But she understood this law perfectly through spiritual intuition. She said, "You must be transformed by the renewing of your mind." That's not metaphor. That's literal neuroplasticity. Your mind literally gets renewed, reconstructed, rewired during sleep based on what you program it with before sleep. 21 nights, 21 cycles of reprogramming. By January 22nd, you won't have the same brain you have right now. You'll have a brain that automatically, instantly, unconsciously substitutes every thought of poverty with a thought of prosperity. And when your consciousness changes, your circumstances must change to match it. That's not just spiritual law. That's how reality works. Now let me tell you a true story that Florence Scovel Shinn used to share frequently, because this story perfectly illustrates the power of the law of substitution, specifically when practiced at bedtime. This story might be your story 21 days from now. There was a woman who came to see Florence back in the 1920s. She was a school teacher, unmarried, in her late 30s, living alone in a small rented room in New York City. She made a modest salary that barely covered her basic expenses: rent, food, transportation to work. She had no savings, no family support, no prospects of any increase in income. And she lived in a constant state of anxiety about money. But the worst part, the part that was driving her to the edge of a nervous breakdown, was what happened every night when she went to bed. She would lie there in the dark, and her mind would just start racing with financial fears. I don't have enough money. What if I get sick and can't work? What if they cut teacher salaries? What if my landlord raises the rent and I can't afford it? I'm never going to have anything more than just surviving. I'm going to grow old alone and poor with no one to help me. These thoughts would cycle through her mind for hours. Sometimes she wouldn't fall asleep until 2 or 3 in the morning. And when she finally did sleep, she would have nightmares about being evicted, about being destitute, about dying in poverty. She would wake up exhausted, depressed, barely able to face another day of teaching while her mind was consumed with money terror. When she came to Florence's consultation room, she was visibly trembling. She had dark circles under her eyes from chronic sleep deprivation. Her hands shook as she spoke. "Miss Shinn," she said, "I can't take this anymore. The fear is killing me. Specifically, the nighttime fear. During the day, I can sometimes distract myself with work, but at night when I lie down, it's like all my financial demons come to attack me. I've tried everything: warm milk, sleeping pills, reading until I'm exhausted. Nothing works. The thoughts just come and come and come." Florence looked at her with that deep compassion and wisdom she was known for, and she said something that initially confused the teacher. "My dear, your mind is simply doing exactly what you've trained it to do. You've trained it that bedtime equals financial worry time. You've created a neurological habit. The moment your head hits the pillow, your brain automatically runs the worry about money program. But here's the beautiful truth. You can retrain it just as surely as you trained it. Not by fighting the thoughts. Fighting them only makes them stronger, but by substituting them. Florence explained the practice very simply. When you lie down at night, the negative thoughts will come. At first, that's guaranteed. They're a habit. But the moment one appears, you don't panic. You don't think, "Oh no, here we go again." You don't try to push it away. You simply, calmly, immediately substitute it with its direct opposite. "I don't have enough money," immediately substitute. "I am divinely supplied. All my needs are met instantly and abundantly. What if I can't pay rent?" Immediately substitute. "Money flows to me from expected and unexpected sources. I always have more than enough. I'm going to die poor and alone." Immediately substitute. "I am rich. I am provided for. I am surrounded by divine abundance." Florence stressed this point very clearly. You don't wait for the negative thought to finish its whole story. You don't engage with it or analyze it. The instant you recognize it's a thought of lack, you replace it, like changing a radio station. One channel off, another channel on. That's all. The teacher asked, "But Miss Shinn, won't the negative thoughts just keep coming back? How is saying something positive going to stop my actual real financial situation?" And Florence replied with this profound truth. The negative thoughts will come back at first, yes. You'll substitute one, and 30 seconds later, another will appear. So you substitute that one too, and another comes. Substitute again. You might substitute 20 or 30 times before you fall asleep the first night. But here's what you don't understand yet. Each time you substitute, you're weakening the old neural pathway and strengthening a new one. And most importantly, the last thought you have before falling asleep becomes the seed that your subconscious works with all night long. She continued, "If the last thought before sleep is, 'I don't have money,' your subconscious spends 8 hours finding evidence to support that and creating more circumstances of lack. But if the last thought is, 'I am rich,' money flows to me. Your subconscious spends 8 hours finding ways to make that true. Your outer circumstances are not creating your thoughts. Your thoughts are creating your outer circumstances. Change the thought, and the circumstance must eventually change to match it." The teacher was skeptical, but also desperate enough to try anything. That night, January 9th, 1923, she remembered the date for the rest of her life. She went to bed, and within 2 minutes the familiar thought appeared. "I don't have enough money." But instead of spiraling into panic, she calmly thought, "I am divinely supplied. Money flows to me now." Another thought came, "You're going to end up homeless." She substituted, "I am protected, provided for, and prosperous." Another, "This is stupid. Nothing's going to change." Substitute, "I am transformed by the renewing of my mind. Miracles are happening now." She substituted thoughts for probably 15 minutes straight. It felt mechanical at first, almost silly. But then something shifted. The thoughts started coming slower. The space between them got longer, and she noticed something remarkable. She felt calmer, not because her bank account had changed, but because she wasn't feeding fear anymore. She was feeding faith. And around the 20-minute mark, she fell asleep. When she woke up the next morning, January 10th, something extraordinary had happened. For the first time in months, maybe years, she didn't wake up with that crushing anxiety in her chest. She felt neutral, not ecstatic, not miraculously transformed, but neutral, calm, like maybe things could be okay. It was such a stark difference from her normal state of morning dread that she almost cried with relief. That night, night 2, she did the practice again. More thoughts came, but she was better at catching them quickly and substituting. By night 3, something amazing happened. A couple of times, her brain substituted automatically without her even trying. A negative thought would start to form, and halfway through, her mind would just switch to the positive version on its own. Night 4, 5, 6. Each night, the practice got easier. Each morning, she woke up calmer, more hopeful, more certain that somehow, some way, things were going to work out. And then, on day 7, 1 week into the practice, something happened in physical reality. The school principal called her into the office, and the teacher's heart sank, thinking she was in trouble or about to be let go. But instead, the principal said, "We have a new program starting for evening adult education classes. We need teachers. It pays time and a half. Are you interested?" The teacher almost fainted. She said yes immediately. That was an extra $200 a month, a huge amount in 1923, just for 3 evenings a week. But she didn't stop the practice. She kept doing it faithfully every night, substituting until sleep took her. And the manifestations kept coming. Day 12. An aunt she barely knew, her father's sister who she'd met maybe 3 times in her life, passed away and left her a small inheritance. $3,000. The teacher had never expected this, never even thought about this aunt. It appeared out of nowhere. Day 18. The landlord, instead of raising her rent like she'd feared for months, actually lowered it by 20% because the building had been refinanced and he wanted to pass the savings on to his long-term tenants. Day 21. The school district offered her a permanent position with tenure and a significant salary increase, something that usually took teachers 5 to 10 years to achieve. When she returned to Florence after the 21 days, she was a completely different person. She had money in the bank. She had financial security. She had prospects. But more importantly, she had peace. She said to Florence, "Miss Shinn, I didn't do anything different during my days. I taught the same classes, lived the same life, talked to the same people. But I changed what I did for 15 to 20 minutes every single night before sleep. I substituted thoughts of poverty with thoughts of prosperity. And it's like the entire universe reorganized itself to bring me money from directions I never could have predicted or planned." Florence smiled that knowing smile and said, "My dear, you didn't change the universe. You changed your consciousness. And consciousness always creates circumstance. You planted different seeds before sleep. You harvested a different crop when you woke. This is law, as precise as gravity, as reliable as mathematics. Consciousness of lack creates lack. Consciousness of abundance creates abundance. You shifted from one to the other, and reality had no choice but to shift with you. This story is not unique. This story has repeated thousands of times with students of Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings. And starting tonight, this story can be your story. Same practice, same law, same results. Now it's time for you to fully prepare for these next 4 hours of deep transformation. Everything I've told you so far has been to prepare your conscious mind, to help you understand what's happening, to strengthen your faith so you can relax and allow the process to work. Now we transition from teaching to programming, from understanding to experiencing. First thing, check your volume right now. This audio should be playing at low to medium volume. You should be able to hear my words, but they should be soft, gentle, almost at the edge of your hearing. You don't need it loud. Your subconscious hears perfectly well at low volume, and you'll sleep much more comfortably this way. So if it's too loud, turn it down now. If you can barely hear it and you're straining, turn it up just a little. Find that sweet spot where the words are clear but soft. Second thing, get into your most comfortable sleeping position right now. If you normally sleep on your right side, roll onto your right side. If you sleep on your back, lie flat on your back. If you're a stomach sleeper, get onto your stomach. There is no correct spiritual position for this. There's only the position where you naturally, easily fall asleep. Get into that position now. Third thing, close your eyes gently. Not squeezing them shut, just letting them softly close. And here's something important I want you to understand. You do not need to try to stay awake and listen to every single word I say from this point forward. In fact, it's better if you don't try. It's better if you just let yourself drift. Let yourself float. Let yourself fall asleep whenever sleep comes naturally. You might fall asleep in the next 5 minutes. You might fall asleep in 30 minutes. You might lie here awake for an hour before sleep takes you. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. The audio will keep playing for 4 hours. And here's what's beautiful. The parts where you're awake and consciously hearing me. Those words are programming your conscious mind. And the parts where you're asleep and not consciously hearing anything, those words are programming your subconscious even more deeply because there's zero resistance. So release all effort. Release all trying. You don't need to do this correctly. You just need to lie here, relax, and let it happen. Let the words wash over you like gentle waves. Some you'll catch, some you'll miss, and all of them are working perfectly whether you're aware of it or not. Fourth thing, take 3 slow, deep breaths with me right now. In through your nose, out through your mouth. First breath, breathe in and out. Second breath, breathe in and out. Third breath, breathe in and out. Beautiful. Feel your body sinking deeper into your bed, your muscles releasing tension, your mind beginning to quiet. And now, just breathe normally. Natural, easy breathing. And as you breathe, I want you to begin the practice of substitution. If a worry about money appears in your mind right now, and it might, because you've trained your mind to worry at bedtime, don't panic. Don't fight it. Just notice it and calmly substitute it. I don't have enough becomes, I have abundance, I am provided for. Tomorrow's going to be hard becomes, tomorrow is filled with miracles and blessings. This won't work for me becomes, this is working perfectly. I am transforming now. Gently, calmly, no force, just substitution. And if you find yourself already drifting into sleep, that's perfect too. Everything from this point forward is designed to work with you sleeping. So, surrender, let go, trust. Welcome to night, one of your 21 nights of transformation. Welcome to the night when poverty consciousness begins to be substituted with prosperity consciousness. Neuron by neuron, thought by thought, until by January 22nd, you wake up as a completely different person. A wealthy person. A person programmed for abundance. Rest now, sleep now, transform now. I'll be here with you all night, guiding you deeper into the law of substitution, deeper into wealth consciousness, deeper into your divine inheritance of abundance. Good night. Sleep in substitution. Wake in abundance. Now we're going to move into what Florence Scovel Shinn called the burden decree, but I'm going to adapt it specifically for the law of substitution, because this is one of the most powerful practices you can do right here at the edge of sleep. If you're still awake, you can repeat these words silently in your mind along with me. If you're already starting to drift, just let the words wash over you like a gentle rain, knowing they're soaking into your subconscious, even without conscious effort. Here's what we're doing with this decree. We're taking every burden, every worry, every fear about money that you've been carrying, and we're not just releasing it into the void. We're substituting it. We're replacing it with its divine opposite. So breathe gently and let these words move through you. I substitute this burden of financial worry with absolute certainty of divine abundance, and I go free to experience prosperity now. I substitute this burden of unpaid bills with the truth that all my needs are met instantly and miraculously by infinite supply. I substitute this burden of debt with the consciousness of total financial freedom and perfect solvency. I substitute this burden of fear about my future with complete faith that divine intelligence is orchestrating my wealth right now in this very moment as I rest. And what I want you to understand about this practice is that substitution is not pretending. It's not denying reality. It's not toxic positivity where you just slap a happy thought over a real problem and hope it goes away. Substitution is something much deeper. You're acknowledging that there are two realities operating simultaneously: the visible reality of circumstances and the invisible reality of consciousness. And the invisible always creates the visible, always, without exception. So when you have a bill you can't pay, that's the visible reality. But the invisible reality, the consciousness reality, is that you are connected to infinite supply, that money flows through billions of channels, that miracles happen every single day, that solutions exist that you haven't thought of yet. Both of these are true. But whichever one you feed your attention to, whichever one you focus on, especially right before sleep, that's the one that grows and eventually dominates your experience. The person who goes to sleep thinking, "I can't pay this bill, I'm going to lose everything," is instructing their subconscious to find more evidence of lack, to create more circumstances of limitation, to close down possibilities. The person who substitutes that thought with, "Money is flowing to me now from expected and unexpected sources. This bill is already paid in the invisible. I am provided for," is instructing their subconscious to find solutions, to open channels, to attract resources, to create miracles. Same external circumstance, different internal consciousness. And over time, usually much less time than you'd think, the external circumstance shifts to match the internal consciousness. This is not theory, this is law. As reliable as the law of gravity. And you're applying this law right now, tonight, as you drift deeper into sleep. So let's continue with the substitution. Let me guide you through some of the most common financial fears and their substitutes. You don't need to repeat these out loud or even very actively in your mind. Just let them flow through your awareness. If you're asleep, they're going even deeper, straight into the subconscious with no filter at all. I substitute the thought, "I don't have enough money," with, "I have more than enough. Abundance is my natural state." I substitute, "I can't afford this," with, "Money comes to me easily. I can afford anything I truly need." I substitute, "I'm always broke," with, "Money flows to me constantly from multiple sources." I substitute, "Rich people are lucky and I'm not," with, "I am blessed, favored, and money finds me everywhere I go." I substitute, "I have to work so hard for every dollar," with, "Money comes to me easily and effortlessly." I substitute, "My family was poor, so I'll be poor," with, "I break all family patterns. I am the first of my lineage to live in abundance." I substitute, "The economy is bad," with, "My supply comes from God, not the economy, and God's supply is unlimited regardless of external circumstances." I substitute, "I'm too old to become wealthy," with, "It's never too late. My wealth manifestation begins right now." I substitute, "I don't have the education to make money," with, "Infinite intelligence guides me to wealth through wisdom, not just education." I substitute, "I made too many financial mistakes," with, "I forgive my past. I learn from experience, and from this moment forward, I create wealth." And let's go deeper with substitution around specific fears. I substitute, "What if I lose my job?" with, "I am always employed by the universe. Opportunities flow to me constantly." I substitute, "What if I get sick and can't work?" with, "I am healthy, provided for, and even if I rest, money continues to flow to me." I substitute, "What if my business fails?" with, "I am guided by divine intelligence. My endeavors are blessed and successful." I substitute, "What if my partner leaves and I can't survive alone?" with, "I am whole, complete, and fully capable of creating wealth independently." I substitute, What if my children need something I can't provide? With my children are divinely provided for. I always have exactly what they need exactly when they need it. I substitute, what if there's an emergency and I have no savings? With, I am protected. The universe provides for emergencies before they happen. I am safe. Every single one of these substitutions is reprogramming your subconscious right now. Your brain is literally forming new neural connections as you hear these words, as you drift deeper into theta and delta states. The old pathways of fear are being starved of attention and energy. The new pathways of faith and abundance are being fed and strengthened. This is happening right now, in real time, in your actual physical brain tissue. And here's something beautiful that's going to start happening over the next 21 nights. At first, you have to consciously substitute. A negative thought comes, you catch it, you replace it. It takes effort. It takes attention. But after a few days, you'll notice something magical. Your brain starts to substitute automatically. A thought of lack will begin to form, and halfway through, your subconscious just switches it to abundance, without you even trying. It becomes reflex. It becomes instinct. It becomes who you are. By night 21, you won't even remember what it was like to think in poverty consciousness because your brain will have been so thoroughly rewired that abundance thinking is now your default setting. And when abundance thinking is your default, abundance experiencing becomes inevitable. Now let me tell you another story, because stories anchor these principles in reality. They make them tangible and believable. This is the story of a man who discovered the power of substitution specifically during those times when you wake up in the middle of the night. And if you're someone who struggles with waking at 2 or 3 in the morning with your mind racing about money, this story is going to change your life. This man was a business owner, mid-40s, running a small manufacturing company, and his business was failing. Not slowly, but catastrophically. He had orders canceled, suppliers demanding payment, a bank loan he couldn't make payments on, and the very real possibility of bankruptcy staring him in the face. And the stress was so intense that he developed severe insomnia. He would fall asleep around 10 or 11 at night, exhausted from worry. But then, like clockwork, he would wake up at 2:45 or 3 in the morning with his heart pounding, his mind racing, panic flooding his body. And he would lie there in the dark for hours, sometimes until sunrise, his mind just torturing him with thoughts like, you're going to lose everything. Your employees are going to lose their jobs because of you. You're a failure. You should have seen this coming. You should have done things differently. It's too late now. You're finished. Over and over and over, like a demon sitting on his chest, whispering in his ear all night long. When he came to see Florence, he looked like he'd aged 10 years. His face was gray, his hands trembled, he could barely form coherent sentences. He said, "Miss Shinn, I can't even sleep anymore." Well, I sleep for a few hours, but then I wake up at 3 in the morning, and that's when the real terror starts. I just lie there, and my mind attacks me. I've tried sleeping pills, they knock me out, but I still wake up at 3. I've tried alcohol, same thing. I've tried meditation and breathing exercises, doesn't work. The thoughts are too strong. I'm starting to think I'm losing my mind. Florence looked at him with such compassion, and she said something that confused him at first. She said, "My dear friend, that moment at 3 in the morning when you wake up, that is not your curse. That is your opportunity. You are waking during what I call the liminal hour. That space between sleeping and waking, where the veil between conscious and subconscious is thinnest, where you have access to both worlds simultaneously. It's one of the most powerful manifestation portals that exists. Right now, you're using it to manifest more fear and more lack. But I'm going to teach you how to use it to manifest wealth instead." She explained the practice very clearly. When you wake at 3 in the morning, your first instinct is to panic, to try to force yourself back to sleep, to fight the thoughts. But fighting doesn't work. What works is substitution. The moment you wake and feel that anxiety starting, before it can build into a full panic attack, you begin substituting. Every single thought of fear you replace immediately with its opposite. You're going to lose everything. Substitute. I keep everything that's mine by divine right. I am protected and provided for. You're a failure. Substitute. I am a success. I am guided by infinite intelligence in all my business affairs. It's too late. Substitute. It's the perfect time. Miracles are happening right now, even while I sleep. And you keep substituting, thought after thought after thought, until one of two things happens. Either you fall back asleep, in which case the last thoughts before sleep were thoughts of abundance, and your subconscious works with those all night. Or you don't fall back asleep, but you spend that hour or two in the dark substituting, which means you're essentially doing concentrated reprogramming during the most receptive brain state possible. Either way, you win. The man was skeptical. He said, "Miss Shinn, you don't understand. These thoughts are so powerful, they feel so true. How is just thinking the opposite going to change anything?" And Florence replied with this profound truth. She said, "The thoughts feel powerful because you fed them for months or years. Every time you believe them, every time you engage with them, every time you follow them down the rabbit hole, you're strengthening their neural pathway. They've become a superhighway in your brain. But the moment you stop feeding them and start feeding the opposite thoughts instead, that superhighway starts to crack, starts to break apart, and a new highway gets built. It doesn't happen instantly, but it happens inevitably if you're consistent." The man decided he had nothing to lose. That very night, January 5th, 1925, he remembered the date forever. He went to bed exhausted as usual. And right on schedule, 2:47 in the morning, he woke up. Heart pounding, anxiety spiking, that familiar dread washing over him. But this time, instead of letting it spiral, he started substituting. "I'm going to lose the business." Substitute. "My business is protected, blessed, and prospering by divine law." "The bank is going to foreclose." Substitute. "Money comes to me to pay all debts easily and on time." "My employees will hate me." Substitute. "I am a blessing to everyone around me." Solutions are appearing now. The negative thoughts kept coming. For probably the first 20 minutes, it felt like he was substituting constantly. Barely a second between one fearful thought and the next. But he kept at it, calmly, mechanically, just switching channels in his mind over and over. And then, something shifted. The thoughts started coming slower. The gaps between them got longer, and somewhere around the 40-minute mark, he fell back asleep. When he woke up for real at 6:30 that morning, something was different. Not externally. His business problems were still there, the bank loan was still due, nothing had changed in physical reality. But internally, something had shifted. He felt calmer. Not happy exactly, not suddenly optimistic, but just less terrified. Like maybe he could handle this. Like maybe there was a way through he couldn't see yet. Night 2, same thing happened. Woke at 3, started substituting, fell back asleep eventually. Night 3, night 4. And each morning he woke up feeling incrementally better, incrementally more at peace, incrementally more certain that somehow, some way, things would work out. And then on day 8, something happened during his waking hours that proved the practice was working. He was in a meeting with a client who had canceled a large order, and a negative thought started to form in his mind. "This client hates me. I'm going to lose more business." And before he even consciously tried, his brain automatically substituted it with, "This client is blessed by working with me. New opportunities are opening right now." It happened so fast, so automatically, that he almost didn't notice it. But he did notice that he felt calm in the meeting, spoke with confidence instead of desperation. And by the end of the meeting, the client had actually reinstated half the order. Day 12. He woke up at 3 in the morning, started the substitution practice, and realized something astonishing. He was almost looking forward to this time. It had become this sacred hour where he did his most powerful manifestation work. It wasn't something to dread anymore. It was something to use. Day 15. A completely unexpected phone call. A company he'd done business with 3 years ago called out of the blue saying they needed a large order filled urgently. Their regular supplier had fallen through. Could he help? That order alone brought in enough cash to make 3 months of loan payments. Day 19. The bank officer who had been threatening foreclosure called to say that due to some internal policy changes, they were offering restructuring on business loans with much better terms. He qualified. His monthly payment dropped by 40%, giving him breathing room to recover. Day 21. A former employee who had left to start his own business contacted him with a partnership proposal that would bring new capital and new contracts. The business wasn't just saved, it was about to expand. When the man returned to see Florence after the 21 days, he was transformed. Still tired, recovery from months of insomnia takes time, but peaceful, hopeful, certain. He said, "Miss Shinn, I used the worst time of my night, that 3 a.m. hour when I used to suffer most, and I turned it into my power hour. I substituted thoughts of failure with thoughts of success 30, 40, 50 times a night. And somewhere around day 10, my brain just started doing it automatically. And when my thoughts changed, when my consciousness shifted, reality had to shift with it. Opportunities appeared that didn't exist before. People showed up who weren't in my life before. Money came from directions I never expected, all because I stopped feeding fear and started feeding faith during those liminal hours between sleeping and waking." Florence smiled and said, "You've discovered one of the deepest secrets. Most people curse the 3 a.m. waking, they fight it, they fear it. But you blessed it, you used it, you transformed it into your greatest tool. And the universe responded by transforming your circumstances to match your transformed consciousness. Now, here's why I'm telling you this story. You might not wake up at 3 in the morning, but if you do, you now know exactly what to do. Don't panic, don't fight it, don't curse yourself for being awake. Simply begin substituting. Use that liminal hour. Turn it into power instead of torture. And if you don't wake in the middle of the night, that's perfect too. This practice works just as powerfully in the minutes before you fall asleep, which is what we're doing right now. Speaking of which, let's move into another round of substitution affirmations. Just relax, let these wash over you, and know that every word is rewiring your brain, reconditioning your subconscious, installing wealth consciousness where poverty consciousness used to live. I am wealthy. Not becoming wealthy. Not hoping to be wealthy. I am wealthy right now in consciousness. And consciousness is the only reality that matters because consciousness creates all other realities. Money flows to me easily. I don't have to force it, chase it, or struggle for it. It flows like water flows downhill, naturally, inevitably, constantly. I am divinely provided for. There is an infinite intelligence that knows my needs before I do and supplies them before I ask. I trust this completely. Abundance is my natural state. I was not born to struggle. I was not born to lack. I was born into a universe of infinite supply, and I claim my inheritance right now. Prosperity comes to me effortlessly. I don't have to work myself to exhaustion. I don't have to sacrifice my health or my peace. Wealth comes easily when I'm aligned with it in consciousness. I attract wealth automatically. Like a magnet attracts iron, I attract money. My very presence draws abundance. Opportunities find me, resources locate me. People want to give me money, pay me money, bless me with money. I am financially blessed. This is not arrogance. This is truth. I am blessed by the universe, by God, by infinite supply. I am favored. I am fortunate. I am lucky in the best sense of that word. Money loves me. Money is not evil. Money is not corrupting. Money is neutral energy, and it loves to flow to people who welcome it, appreciate it, and use it well. And I am one of those people. I love money. I'm not ashamed of this. I'm not guilty about wanting wealth. I love money because money is a tool for good, for helping others, for creating beauty, for funding dreams. I love money, and money loves me. We flow together naturally, joyfully, abundantly. 2026 is my year of financial abundance. This is not a hope. This is a declaration. This is a decree. I am speaking this into existence right now, as I drift deeper into sleep. This year, this month, this week, this day, money flows to me in amounts that would have seemed impossible before. I am open to receive. My hands are open, my heart is open, my mind is open. I receive money from expected sources and unexpected sources, from my work and from gifts, from opportunities I can see and miracles I can't yet see. I receive easily, gratefully, abundantly. I deserve wealth. I am worthy of abundance. This is not something I need to earn or prove. This is my birthright as a child of an abundant universe. I claim prosperity. I don't beg for it. I don't hope for it from afar. I claim it as mine, right here, right now. It already exists in the invisible. I'm just allowing it to materialize in the visible. I accept money easily and gratefully. When it comes, I don't question it. I don't feel guilty. I don't wonder if I deserve it. I simply say thank you and receive it. I spend money wisely and joyfully. I'm not a hoarder afraid to let money flow. I'm not a spendthrift wasting money foolishly. I use money with wisdom and joy, and because I spend joyfully, more money comes to replace what I spend, and then some. I save money naturally and consistently. Saving is not a burden for me. It's automatic. I always have reserves. I always have extra. I always have more than enough. I invest money intelligently and profitably. My money grows, my wealth multiplies. I make wise financial decisions guided by intuition and intelligence. I give money generously and freely. I am not stingy. I am not tight-fisted. I give to causes I believe in, to people I want to help, to organizations doing good work. And because I give freely, I receive freely. The more I give, the more I receive. It's a beautiful cycle. I receive money constantly and abundantly. Every day, money comes to me. Sometimes a lot, sometimes a little, but always flowing, always increasing, always proving that I live in an abundant universe that provides for me lavishly. I release all resistance to wealth, any part of me that believes I can't have money, that I don't deserve it, that it's not spiritual, that it will corrupt me. I release those beliefs now. They dissolve as I sleep. They wash away. They have no power over me anymore. I release all fear of money. I'm not afraid of having it, losing it, managing it, or attracting it. I'm at peace with wealth. I'm comfortable with abundance. Money and I are friends. I release all guilt about abundance. I don't feel bad for wanting wealth while others struggle. I understand that my prosperity helps others, inspires others, creates opportunities for others. I release all shame about prosperity. There is nothing shameful about being rich, nothing wrong with living abundantly. I step into wealth with my head held high. I forgive myself for past financial mistakes. Every choice I made was with the understanding I had at the time. I did my best. I learn from experience. And from this moment forward, I make wise financial choices. I forgive others who harmed me financially. Anyone who cheated me, stole from me, didn't pay me, I release them. Holding resentment blocks my own flow. I forgive, and I free myself to receive. I am free from all negative money programming. Every message I absorbed as a child about money being scarce or hard to get, or only for certain people, gone, erased, replaced with truth. The truth that abundance is everywhere, available to everyone, including me, especially me. I am open to all positive wealth experiences. I say yes to opportunities, yes to growth, yes to expansion, yes to prosperity in every form. I am ready to receive unlimited abundance. Not just a little more, not just enough to get by, but unlimited, overflowing, more than I can even imagine right now. I'm ready. The universe is ready. It's already done. My subconscious mind is accepting these commands as absolute truth right now. There's no resistance because I'm in theta or delta state, deeply relaxed, nearly asleep, or already sleeping. These words are going straight into my subconscious programming like software being installed on a computer. My brain is restructuring itself right now, this very minute. Old neural pathways of lack are being dissolved, broken down, composted. New neural pathways of abundance are being built, strengthened, Made permanent, synapses are firing in new patterns, neurons that wire together, and I'm wiring together wealth neurons right now. When I wake up tomorrow morning, I will be different. Not in a way I can necessarily articulate or even consciously notice at first, but different at the deep level, more calm about money, more certain of provision, more open to receiving, more automatic in substituting negative thoughts with positive ones. And that internal difference will create external differences. Things will shift. Opportunities will appear. Money will come. Not because I'm working harder or doing more during the day, but because I changed my consciousness during the night. And consciousness always creates circumstance. Always. This is the law of substitution in action. Every thought of poverty being replaced by a thought of prosperity. Every fear being replaced by faith. Every worry being replaced by trust. And it's happening now as you rest, as you drift, as you sleep, as your brain does its miraculous work of rebuilding itself based on the programming you're giving it right now. So rest deeply, sleep peacefully, trust completely. Let these words do their work. Let your subconscious absorb them. Let your brain rewire itself. And when you wake in the morning, you'll be one day closer to complete transformation. One night down, 20 more to go, and every single night builds on the previous one, strengthens the new programming, weakens the old patterns, until by January 22nd, you are a completely new person in consciousness, which means you'll be a completely new person in circumstances too. Keep breathing gently. Let yourself drift even deeper. The next hours will continue this work, continue this transformation, continue this beautiful process of substituting poverty with prosperity, lack with abundance, fear with faith. You're doing perfectly. Everything is working exactly as it should. Rest now, transform now, become wealthy now. Good night. We're moving now into the second hour of this 4-hour journey, and if you're still awake, that's perfectly fine. If you're already deeply asleep, that's even better, because these words are penetrating straight into your subconscious with absolutely no conscious filter or resistance. Either way, the transformation is happening at the deepest levels of your mind and brain. I want to take a few minutes now to explain something really important about what's happening in your brain during sleep. Because understanding the science strengthens your faith, and faith accelerates manifestation. So let's talk about neuroplasticity in a way that connects the dots between what neuroscientists have discovered in laboratories and what Florence Scovel Shinn knew through spiritual wisdom 100 years ago. Your brain contains approximately 86 billion neurons. That's 86,000 million individual nerve cells. And each one of those neurons can form thousands of connections with other neurons. These connections are called synapses, and you have somewhere around 100 trillion synapses in your brain right now. 100 million connection points. It's hard to even comprehend that number. Your brain is the most complex structure in the known universe. Now here's what's fascinating. For most of human history, scientists believed that your brain was essentially fixed after childhood. They thought that you were born with a certain number of neurons. You lost some as you aged, and the basic structure and wiring of your brain was set in stone by the time you were in your 20s. But in the last 30 to 40 years, that entire understanding has been completely revolutionized by the discovery of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means that your brain is plastic, changeable, moldable throughout your entire life. Every single day, neurons are forming new connections, strengthening existing connections, weakening connections that aren't being used, and completely eliminating connections that haven't been activated in a long time. Your brain is constantly reorganizing itself based on your experiences, your thoughts, your focus, and most powerfully, based on what happens during sleep. When you're awake and thinking a thought, specific neurons fire together. If you think, I don't have enough money, there's a specific pathway of neurons that lights up in your brain. If you've thought that thought thousands of times over years, that pathway has become very strong, very thick, very automatic. It's like a superhighway that traffic flows down effortlessly. That's why the thought keeps coming back so easily. It's not because it's true. It's because the neural pathway is so well established. But here's the beautiful part. If you stop using that pathway and start using a different pathway instead, the old highway starts to deteriorate. In neuroscience, they have a saying, neurons that fire together wire together. But there's a second part to that saying, neurons that don't fire together don't wire together. Use it or lose it at the neural level. So when you substitute the thought, I don't have enough money, with I am abundantly provided for, you're literally activating a different set of neurons. At first, that new pathway is weak, like a little dirt trail through the forest. It takes conscious effort to think the new thought. The old thought tries to pull you back to the highway. But every single time you make the substitution, you're sending a little more traffic down the new trail and sending a little less traffic down the old highway. Do this enough times, and something miraculous happens. The new trail becomes a path, then a road, then a highway. And the old highway starts to crack. Weeds grow through it. Sections collapse, until eventually it's barely recognizable as a route anymore. You've literally rebuilt your brain. You've rewired your neural circuitry. And because your thoughts create your reality, when you change your brain, you change your life. Now here's where sleep comes in, and this is crucial. Most of the actual physical construction and destruction of neural pathways happens during sleep, not during waking hours. When you're awake and you substitute a thought, you're essentially sending a signal to your brain saying, I want to strengthen this new pathway and weaken that old one. But the brain doesn't make those structural changes immediately. It waits until you sleep. During deep sleep, specifically during slow-wave sleep and REM sleep, your brain goes into construction mode. It's like a city that does all its major roadwork at night when traffic is minimal. Your brain releases growth factors that allow neurons to form new connections. It strengthens the synapses that were activated during the day, making them more efficient, more permanent. And simultaneously, it weakens and prunes away the synapses that weren't activated, saving energy and clearing out clutter. There's even a specific process called synaptic homeostasis that happens during sleep, where your brain literally shrinks the synapses down by about 20%. Then selectively strengthens back the ones that are important based on what you focused on before falling asleep. It's like your brain is resetting every night, and whatever you were thinking about right before sleep gets protected and strengthened, while everything else gets downgraded. This is why the substitution practice right before sleep is so incredibly powerful. You're literally telling your brain, this is what I want you to strengthen tonight, not the old thoughts of lack. These new thoughts of abundance. Build these pathways, make these permanent, wire this into my automatic thinking. And your brain obeys. It has to. That's how neuroplasticity works. It's law, just as surely as the law of substitution is law. Research done at Harvard Medical School and MIT showed that people who practiced a new skill and then slept showed significantly more improvement than people who practiced the same amount but stayed awake. The sleep group's brains actually restructured themselves to make the new skill automatic. And thoughts are a skill. Abundance thinking is a skill. You're practicing it now, right before and during sleep, and your brain is making it automatic. There's also something called memory consolidation that happens during sleep. Your brain takes the experiences and thoughts from the day and decides what to keep in long-term memory and what to discard. And again, whatever you were focused on right before sleep gets priority. It gets consolidated into long-term memory. It becomes part of your permanent programming. So every night when you listen to this audio, when you practice substitution, when you fall asleep with thoughts of abundance, you're essentially telling your brain, this is important. Remember this. Make this permanent. Build my identity around this. And night after night, your brain obeys. Until by night 21, you literally have a different brain than you had on night 1. Not metaphorically different, actually physically, structurally different. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." She didn't have MRI machines or neuroscience labs, but she understood this law perfectly. The mind gets renewed, the brain gets rewired, and when your mind is transformed, your life transforms to match it. It's not magic in the sense of violating natural law. It is magic in the sense of working with natural law so precisely that the results seem miraculous. You are rewiring your brain right now, in this very moment as you rest here. Old pathways of poverty consciousness are being starved, weakened, dissolved. New pathways of prosperity consciousness are being fed, strengthened, made permanent. And over the next 20 nights, this process continues and compounds until the transformation is complete and irreversible. Now let me tell you another story that illustrates this principle perfectly. This is the story of a woman who was in her 50s, had been poor her entire life, came from a poor family, lived in a poor neighborhood, had poor friends, and genuinely believed that poverty was just her destiny, her fate, something she couldn't change. But she learned the law of substitution, applied it during sleep, and what happened was nothing short of miraculous. This woman worked as a housekeeper. She cleaned other people's homes for a living. The pay was minimal, barely enough to cover rent and food. She had no savings, no retirement, no prospects of anything better. And she had internalized a story about herself that went something like this. I'm not educated, I'm not talented, I'm not lucky, I'm not the kind of person who gets to be wealthy. Wealthy is for other people. I'm just meant to struggle and survive, and that's okay. That's my lot in life. She had thought these thoughts so many times for so many years that they felt like absolute truth. They felt like facts about reality, not opinions or beliefs. And because she thought them constantly, her brain had built massive neural superhighways around poverty consciousness. It was automatic, effortless, constant. She couldn't go an hour without thinking some variation of, I'm poor and I'll always be poor. But one day, she happened to overhear a conversation between two of her clients, two wealthy women whose home she was cleaning. They were talking about Florence Scovel Shinn, about the law of substitution, about how you can change your entire life by changing your thoughts, especially the thoughts you have right before sleep. She pretended not to listen, but she absorbed every word, and something inside her, some tiny spark of hope she thought had died years ago, flickered to life. That night, she decided to try it, even though she felt foolish, even though she didn't really believe it would work. She lay down in her small, sparse room, and a thought immediately appeared. You're poor, and you'll always be poor. But instead of just accepting it like she had for decades, she tried substituting. I am rich. Money flows to me. The substitution felt like a lie. It felt ridiculous. She almost laughed at herself, but she did it anyway. Another thought. You clean toilets for a living. You're never going to be wealthy. Substitute. My work is blessed. I am divinely compensated. Abundance is coming to me now. It felt fake, mechanical, pointless, but she kept doing it. For maybe 20 minutes, she substituted thoughts until she fell asleep. The next morning, nothing had changed externally. She still woke up in the same small room, still went to the same cleaning jobs, still made the same small amount of money. But internally, something felt different. She couldn't quite name it. Just a tiny bit lighter, a tiny bit more hopeful, like maybe, possibly, there was a crack in the wall she'd been living behind her whole life. Night 2, she did it again. Substitution after substitution after substitution. Night 3, night 4. And she started to notice something interesting. During the day while she was working, negative thoughts about money would come up, but they didn't stick as powerfully as they used to. They were easier to dismiss. And a few times, her mind actually substituted automatically without her even trying. Just for a second, but it happened. By night 7, 1 week in, something shifted. She was cleaning a kitchen and found herself genuinely believing, just for a moment, that she was provided for. Not in the future. Right now. It was a strange sensation, feeling something she'd never felt before. Faith. Actual faith that the universe was taking care of her. Night 10. One of her regular clients mentioned that her sister needed a housekeeper and asked if she knew anyone. Without thinking, she said, I could do it. She'd never been assertive like that before. Never put herself forward. But something had changed in her. The client said great, and just like that, she had another job, more hours. More income. Night 14, 2 weeks in. She was walking past a small office building and saw a help wanted sign for a cleaning manager position. Old her would have walked right past, thinking, that's not for me. I'm just a housekeeper. But new her stopped, went inside, asked about it. They interviewed her on the spot. She started the next week. Salary, benefits, triple what she was making before. Night 18. The manager position meant she supervised other cleaners now, and she realized she was good at it. She was organized, efficient, kind, but firm. The building owner noticed and mentioned he owned several other buildings that needed management. Would she be interested in eventually overseeing all of them? More than interested. Excited. A feeling she'd never associated with work before. Night 21. She completed the 21 days of substitution practice. And on that final morning, she woke up and realized something profound. She no longer had to consciously substitute thoughts. Her brain just thought abundantly now, automatically. It was her new default. When she looked in the mirror, she didn't see a poor woman anymore. She saw someone who was provided for, blessed, on her way to prosperity. Within 6 months, she was managing 5 buildings, making more money than she'd made in entire years previously. Within a year, she had saved enough to put a down payment on a small condo, her first property ever. Within 2 years, she started her own cleaning and property management company. When she told this story years later, she always emphasized one thing. She said, I didn't get more education. I didn't develop new skills. I didn't meet a rich person who gave me money. I changed exactly one thing. The thoughts I thought before falling asleep. For 21 nights, I substituted poverty thoughts with prosperity thoughts. And my brain rewired itself. And when my brain changed, my perception changed. And when my perception changed, my behavior changed. And when my behavior changed, my opportunities changed. And when my opportunities changed, my circumstances changed. All from substitution. All from working with neuroplasticity during sleep. This is the same principle working in you right now. You don't need to be younger, smarter, more educated, more connected, or luckier. You need to rewire your brain. And the fastest, most effective way to do that is through substitution practice right before and during sleep, which is exactly what you're doing right now. Let me guide you through another powerful decree now, one that Florence called the Midnight Decree, because it's specifically designed for those moments in the middle of the night, but it works just as powerfully right here at the edge of sleep. Money flows to me now. Not someday in the distant future when conditions are perfect. Not when I'm more deserving or more ready. Now. In this present moment. As I lie here resting, money is flowing to me through channels I can see and channels I cannot see. Through expected sources and unexpected sources. Through my work and through grace. Money flows to me now. I repeat this like a mantra, like a lullaby, letting it echo through my consciousness. Money flows to me now. I don't need to know how. I don't need to figure out the path. I don't need to make it happen through force or struggle. I simply affirm the truth and let the universe orchestrate the details. Money flows to me now. Money flows to me now. Each time I say it, I'm creating a new neural pathway, strengthening abundance consciousness, weakening poverty consciousness. Each repetition is building my new automatic thought pattern. Money flows to me now. Easy, simple, true. Money flows to me now. If you wake up later tonight at 2 or 3 in the morning, this is what you say. Not, why am I awake? Not, I need to get back to sleep. Just, money flows to me now. Money flows to me now. Money flows to me now. Until sleep takes you again, you're using the liminal hour for manifestation instead of worry. But right now, whether you're awake or asleep, let this truth sink deeper and deeper. Money flows to you now. Not because you've earned it perfectly or because you've done everything right. Money flows to you because you are part of an abundant universe, and abundance is your natural inheritance. Money flows to you because you've decided it does. You've declared it does. You've substituted lack consciousness with flow consciousness. Money flows to me now means I'm no longer waiting for permission. I'm no longer waiting for perfect conditions. I'm no longer waiting until I'm more worthy. Money flows to me now means I accept my good now, I receive my abundance now, I step into prosperity now. And this is happening as you sleep. Money is actually flowing to you right now in ways you're not even consciously aware of. Ideas are forming in your subconscious about how to increase income. Solutions to financial problems are bubbling up from deep mind. Synchronicities are being arranged in the quantum field. People who will bring you opportunities are being guided toward you. Money that will show up tomorrow or next week is already in motion tonight. You're not just sleeping. You're not just resting your body. You're actively, powerfully manifesting wealth during these hours of sleep through the combination of substitution, affirmation, decree, and the natural neuroplasticity that happens during deep sleep. This is sacred work. This is world-changing work. This is the work of complete transformation. Let's continue with more substitution now, going even deeper into specific areas of financial life. I substitute the thought, my job doesn't pay enough, with, I am compensated abundantly for the value I provide, and my income increases constantly. I substitute, I can't afford to save money, with, I easily save money every single month. My reserves grow naturally. I substitute, investing is too risky, with, I make wise investments guided by intuition and intelligence. My money multiplies safely. I substitute, I'll never be able to retire, with, I am building substantial wealth for a comfortable, abundant retirement. I substitute, I can't help my family financially, with, I am a source of blessing and provision for everyone I love. I substitute, unexpected expenses always ruin my finances, with, I always have more than enough to handle any expense with ease. I substitute, I'm bad with money, with, I am excellent at managing money, making wise decisions and creating prosperity. I substitute, money causes problems in relationships, with, money enhances my relationships, I handle it with wisdom and love. I substitute, I'll never own a home, with, I am guided to the perfect home that I own fully and joyfully. I substitute, my business will never be profitable, with, my business is blessed, successful, and increasingly profitable. I substitute, the market is too competitive, with, there is more than enough for everyone, my success doesn't require anyone else's failure. I substitute, I'm too far in debt to recover, with, I am rapidly becoming debt-free. Financial freedom is mine now. Every one of these substitutions is happening in your brain right now at the neural level. Synapses are forming. Pathways are strengthening. Your brain is learning a new language, the language of abundance, and it's becoming fluent fast because you're practicing during the most receptive state possible, the state of sleep. And here's something really important to understand. You might wake up tomorrow and consciously not remember anything you heard tonight. You might not remember specific affirmations or stories or decrees. That's perfectly fine. Actually, that's ideal. Because it means the information bypassed your conscious mind completely and went straight into your subconscious where it's doing the real work. Your conscious mind likes to interfere, to analyze, to question, to resist. But when you're asleep, conscious mind is offline, and subconscious is wide open and receptive. So if you remember nothing tomorrow, except that you slept well and feel somehow different, that's actually proof that the programming went deep. Trust the process. Trust your brain's natural ability to rewire itself. Trust neuroplasticity. Trust the law of substitution. Trust that consciousness creates circumstance. Trust that what you're doing right now, lying here, listening to these words, as you drift deeper into sleep, is literally the most powerful manifestation practice that exists. You're not just listening to a meditation. You're undergoing complete subconscious reprogramming. You're rebuilding your brain. You're installing a new operating system. And when you finish all 21 nights, you will be, in the most literal sense, a different person. A person who thinks abundantly automatically. A person who attracts money naturally. A person who lives in prosperity consciousness, and that person experiences a completely different external reality than the person who thinks in poverty consciousness. So rest now, breathe gently, let yourself float deeper into sleep. The next hour will continue this beautiful work. More stories, more substitutions, more rewiring, more transformation. Everything is perfect. Everything is working. You are becoming wealthy in consciousness, which means you are becoming wealthy in experience. It's already done. Sleep now. Transform now. Prosper now. We're entering the second half of your first night now. And by this point, most people are deeply asleep, completely relaxed, in delta wave territory, where the most profound transformation happens. If you're somehow still awake, that's perfectly fine too. There's no right or wrong here. Your brain is absorbing everything regardless of your conscious state. In fact, the deeper you sleep, the more open your subconscious becomes, the more powerful this reprogramming is. I want to share with you now one of Florence Scovel Shinn's most profound teachings, something she called consciousness creates circumstance. This isn't just a nice spiritual idea. This is the fundamental law of how reality works. And when you truly understand this, when you internalize it at the deepest level, everything changes. So let me explain it in a way that makes it absolutely clear and undeniable. Your current financial circumstances, whatever they are right now in this moment, are not random. They're not happening to you because of bad luck, or because the universe is punishing you, or because you weren't born into the right family. Your current financial circumstances are a perfect, precise mirror reflection of your money consciousness. Not your conscious thoughts about money, but your deep subconscious programming about money. If you have consciousness of lack, you will experience lack. Not because you're bad or because you don't deserve better, but because consciousness creates. It's law. If you have consciousness of there's never enough, your subconscious mind, which controls 95% of your behavior, will make choices, take actions, miss opportunities, and create situations that prove there's never enough. It has to. It's operating on the programming you've given it. But here's the beautiful, liberating truth. If consciousness creates circumstance, then changing consciousness changes circumstance. It has to. It's law. You don't have to figure out how to make more money. You don't have to force opportunities. You don't have to manipulate circumstances. You just have to change your consciousness, and the circumstances will reorganize themselves to match the new consciousness. Automatically, inevitably, perfectly. This is what you're doing right now through substitution. Every time you replace a thought of lack with a thought of abundance, you're shifting your consciousness. At first, it's just a tiny shift, barely perceptible. But night after night, substitution after substitution, the shift becomes bigger. The old consciousness weakens. The new consciousness strengthens. And at some point, there's a tipping point where the new consciousness becomes dominant, becomes automatic, becomes who you are. And when that happens, your external circumstances have no choice but to reorganize themselves to match. Florence told a story about a man who came to her absolutely convinced that he was cursed financially. Every business he started failed. Every job he got ended badly. Every investment lost money. He genuinely believed there was some kind of cosmic conspiracy against his financial success. And Florence listened to him list all these circumstances, all this evidence of his financial curse. And then she said something that shocked him. She said, "You're absolutely right. You are cursed. But not by God or the universe or your ancestors. You're cursed by your own consciousness. You believe you're cursed, so your subconscious creates circumstances that prove you're cursed. You think in curse, so you live in curse. But the moment you change that consciousness, the curse dissolves. Because it was never real. It was always just consciousness manifesting as circumstance." The man was angry at first. He thought she was blaming him for his problems. But Florence explained gently that blame has nothing to do with it. This isn't about fault or punishment. This is about law. If you put your hand in fire, you get burned. Not because fire is punishing you, but because that's how fire works. If you hold consciousness of financial curse, you experience financial curse. Not because the universe is against you, but because that's how consciousness works. She taught him substitution. Every thought of I'm cursed became I'm blessed. Every thought of nothing ever works for me became everything works out for my highest good. Every thought of "I'm a failure" became "I'm divinely guided to success in all my endeavors." He practiced this faithfully, especially before sleep, for 30 days straight, longer than the usual 21 days because his curse consciousness was so deeply entrenched. And around day 23, something cracked open. He woke up one morning and realized he didn't believe in the curse anymore. Not because circumstances had changed yet, but because something inside him had shifted. He just knew, with certainty, that he wasn't cursed. He was blessed. It was a knowing beyond logic, beyond evidence. It was consciousness transformation. And within 2 weeks of that shift, opportunities started appearing. A former business partner reached out to apologize and offer a new partnership. A job offer came that was perfect for his skills and paid double what he'd made before. An investment he'd written off as a loss suddenly paid out. Within 6 months, he was more financially successful than he'd ever been. Not because the curse lifted, but because the consciousness of curse transformed into consciousness of blessing. And consciousness always creates circumstance to match itself. This is happening for you right now. As you sleep through these 4 hours tonight and the next 20 nights, your consciousness is being transformed at the deepest levels. Poverty consciousness is being replaced by prosperity consciousness. Lack consciousness is being replaced by abundance consciousness. Struggle consciousness is being replaced by ease consciousness. And as your consciousness changes, your circumstances must and will change to match. You don't need to see the path. You don't need to know the how. You just need to stay faithful to the substitution practice, trust the process, and watch as your external world reorganizes itself to reflect your internal transformation. This is law. This is how reality works. And you're working with this law right now, in perfect harmony, in perfect alignment. Let me tell you another story now, one of my favorites from Florence's teachings. This is about a woman who had been in significant debt for years, and I mean serious debt. Credit cards maxed out, personal loans she couldn't pay, owing money to family members, feeling like she was drowning with no way out. She would lie awake at night calculating numbers in her head, trying to figure out how to pay everyone, and it never added up. There was never enough. The math didn't work. She came to one of Florence's lectures by accident. A friend dragged her along. She sat in the back, arms crossed, skeptical and exhausted. And Florence said something that night that caught her attention. Florence said, "Your debt is not a circumstance problem. It's a consciousness problem. You're not in debt because you spent too much or earned too little. Those are symptoms. You're in debt because you have debt consciousness. You think in debt, you vibrate at the frequency of debt. You expect debt, and so you create more debt. Change the consciousness, and the debt dissolves." The woman wanted to argue. She wanted to say, "No, I'm in debt because I made bad choices, because I lost my job, because my ex-husband left me with bills." All circumstances, all external. But something in her new Florence was right. She'd seen it in her own life. Even when she got extra money, it would disappear. Even when she made more income, her expenses would somehow rise to match. It was like debt was attracted to her, like she had a debt magnet inside her. So she approached Florence after the lecture and asked, "How do I change debt consciousness?" And Florence gave her a very specific practice. She said, "Every night before you sleep, you're going to do 2 things. First, you're going to substitute every thought about debt. When you think, 'I owe so much money,' you immediately substitute, 'I am debt-free. All obligations are met easily.' When you think, 'I'll never get out of this hole,' you substitute, 'I am financially free. Money flows to me abundantly.' Second, you're going to visualize yourself receiving a document that says, 'Paid in full across every debt you have.' See it clearly, feel the relief, experience the freedom. Do this every night for 21 nights without fail." The woman went home that night and tried it. When she lay down to sleep, debt thoughts came flooding in. They always did. You owe $12,000 on credit cards. You owe $8,000 to your sister. You owe $4,000 on that personal loan. $24,000 total. How are you ever going to pay that? And she substituted, I am debt-free. All obligations are met. Money flows to me now. The thought came back. She substituted again, and again, and again, probably 50 times that first night before she finally fell asleep exhausted. But she did the visualization too. She saw herself opening envelopes, pulling out statements, and across each one in big red letters, paid in full. She felt what it would feel like to be free of debt. Light, peaceful, liberated. She fell asleep with that feeling, that image, that consciousness. Night 2, 3, 4. She kept at it. The debt thoughts came less frequently. The substitutions came more automatically. The visualization became more vivid, more real feeling. And somewhere around night 8, she noticed something strange. She felt differently about the debt. It didn't feel like this crushing, permanent burden anymore. It felt like a temporary condition that was already shifting. Night 10. She got a call from a credit card company offering her a settlement. They would forgive 40% of what she owed if she could pay the other 60%. She didn't have the money to pay even the 60%. But the offer itself was shocking. They'd never offered anything like this before. She said she needed time to think about it. Night 12. Her sister, the one she owed $8,000 to, called her. The woman was prepared for pressure, for anger. But instead her sister said, I've been thinking about that money I loaned you. I don't need it back. Things are going well for me, and I know you're struggling. Consider it a gift. The debt is forgiven. The woman almost dropped the phone. $8,000, just gone, just forgiven. Night 15. She got a job offer completely out of the blue. Better position, better pay, and they offered her a signing bonus. The signing bonus was exactly enough to pay the 60% to the credit card company for the settlement. Exactly, to the dollar. Night 21. The final night of her practice. By this point, she'd paid off 2 credit cards completely, had the third one settled and paid. The personal loan was down to manageable payments because her new income covered it easily. And her sister had forgiven the rest. In 3 weeks, she'd gone from $24,000 in debt to less than $3,000. And that remaining $3,000 felt light, manageable, not scary anymore. She went back to see Florence and said, I don't understand how this happened. I didn't get an inheritance. I didn't win the lottery. I just changed my thoughts before sleep, and money appeared. Debts were forgiven. Opportunities showed up. How? And Florence smiled that knowing smile and said, You changed your consciousness from debt to freedom. And consciousness creates circumstance. The money was always available. The opportunities were always there. The forgiveness was always possible. But your debt consciousness couldn't see them, couldn't access them, couldn't receive them. When you shifted to freedom consciousness through substitution and visualization during sleep, you opened channels that were closed before. And abundance rushed in to fill the space where lack had been. This is the same law working for you right now. Whatever your specific financial circumstance is, whether it's debt or low income or lack of opportunities or anything else, it's a reflection of consciousness. And you're changing that consciousness right now, tonight, through this practice. By the time you reach night 21, your consciousness will be so different that your circumstances will have no choice but to transform to match it. Let me guide you through a practice now, a visualization that you can use every night as part of your substitution routine. Even if you're deeply asleep right now, your subconscious is experiencing this, and it's working powerfully. Just relax, breathe, and let this flow through you. Imagine yourself waking up on January 23rd, 2026. That's the morning after you complete your 21 nights of transformation. See yourself opening your eyes, stretching, feeling rested and peaceful. And as you become fully awake, you notice something remarkable. You feel different about money. There's no anxiety, no worry, no fear, just calm certainty that you're provided for, that abundance is yours, that everything is working out perfectly. You get up, make your coffee or tea, and you check your phone. There's an email, or a text message, or a phone call. It's good news about money. Maybe it's a client saying yes to a project. Maybe it's a job offer. Maybe it's a refund you didn't expect. Maybe it's a friend repaying a loan you'd forgotten about. Maybe it's a gift. The specific form doesn't matter. What matters is that money is coming to you easily, naturally, confirming that your consciousness has shifted. Later that day, you're going about your normal activities, and you notice yourself thinking about money without fear. In fact, you catch yourself thinking, "I'm so blessed. Money flows to me so easily now. I'm provided for." And you realize these aren't affirmations you're trying to believe. These are actual thoughts you're thinking naturally, automatically. Your default setting has changed. You think like a wealthy person now without effort. Over the next days and weeks, you watch as your external circumstances begin to shift to match your internal transformation. Opportunities appear that weren't there before. People show up who want to help you, hire you, pay you, bless you. Money comes from expected sources and unexpected sources. You make better financial decisions because you're thinking clearly, not from fear. You save more easily. You spend more wisely. You invest more intelligently. Everything flows better because you're operating from abundance consciousness instead of lack consciousness. And 6 months from now, maybe a year from now, you look back at where you were on January 2nd, 2026, and you can barely recognize that person. That person was so worried, so anxious, so convinced that money was hard and scarce. And now you're this person who knows, who absolutely knows, that abundance is natural, that provision is guaranteed, that the universe is infinitely generous, and you're connected to that infinite supply always. This visualization isn't fantasy. This is you seeing the natural result of changing your consciousness through substitution. This is you previewing your own future, a future that's not just possible, but inevitable if you stay faithful to this practice for all 21 nights. So hold this vision. Feel this reality. Know that it's already done in consciousness, which means it's already done in circumstance. It's just a matter of time before the visible catches up to the invisible. Let's do more substitution now, going deeper into identity-level beliefs, because this is where the most powerful transformation happens. I substitute the belief, I am a poor person, with I am a wealthy person. This is my identity. This is who I am. I substitute, I come from poverty, with I come from an abundant universe. My true heritage is prosperity. I substitute, money is not for people like me, with money is for everyone, including me, especially me. I substitute, I'm not the type who succeeds financially, with I am exactly the type who succeeds financially. Wealth is my natural state. I substitute, I don't have what it takes to be rich, with I have everything I need. I am guided by infinite intelligence. Success is inevitable for me. I substitute, wealthy people are different from me, with I am wealthy. I belong in spaces of prosperity. Abundance is my home. These identity-level substitutions are crucial because your subconscious will always act in accordance with how you identify yourself. If you identify as a poor person, your subconscious will sabotage opportunities that would make you wealthy because becoming wealthy would contradict your identity. But if you identify as a wealthy person, your subconscious will orchestrate circumstances that confirm and support that identity. Identity is everything. Change your identity. Change your life. And right now, during these hours of sleep, you're installing a new identity. Not poor, not struggling, not lacking, but wealthy, prosperous, abundant, provided for, blessed. By January 22nd, this will be who you are at the core level. Not who you're trying to become, who you are. And when that's who you are, your entire life reorganizes to match. I want to teach you something else Florence emphasized, something she called, your word is your wand. This means that the words you speak, especially the words you speak about yourself and your circumstances, have creative power. They're not just descriptions. They're instructions to the universe, commands to your subconscious, decrees that set forces in motion. When you say, I can't afford this, you're not just stating a fact. You're instructing your subconscious to create circumstances where you can't afford things. When you say, "I'm broke," you're waving your wand and creating more brokenness. When you say, "Money is hard to make," you're commanding money to be hard for you. Your word is your wand. You're casting spells constantly with your language. But here's the powerful part. You can change your words. You can choose different spells. Instead of, "I can't afford this," you say, "I choose not to purchase this right now." Or, "Money is flowing to me for everything I need." Instead of, "I'm broke," you say, "I'm in the process of manifesting abundance," or "Money is on its way to me now." Instead of "Money is hard," you say, "Money comes to me easily and effortlessly." This isn't just positive thinking or affirmation. This is recognizing that your words have power, they create reality, and you can wield that power consciously instead of unconsciously. You can wave your wand deliberately instead of accidentally cursing yourself with careless language. And the most powerful time to use your words as a wand is right before sleep, because those words go straight into your subconscious without the filter of conscious skepticism, and your subconscious works all night to make those words true. So before you sleep each night, speak words of abundance. I am wealthy. Money flows to me. I am provided for. Tomorrow is filled with financial blessings. I am divinely guided to prosperity. Wave your wand. Cast your spell. Create your reality through the power of your word combined with the receptivity of your sleeping mind. Let me share one more story before this hour ends, a story about an older gentleman, probably in his late 60s, who thought it was too late for him to change his financial situation. He'd been poor his whole life, was living on a tiny pension, and had basically accepted that he would die poor. He had no hope of things changing. And someone gave him one of Florence's books, and he read about the law of substitution, and he thought, well, I've got nothing to lose. I'm an old man. I've tried everything else. Might as well try this. So he started the practice. Every night before sleep, substituting thoughts of poverty with thoughts of prosperity. And honestly, for the first week, nothing happened. He didn't feel different. Certainly nothing changed externally. He almost gave up, but he'd committed to 21 days, so he kept going. Night 9. He had a dream, which he hadn't remembered a dream in years. In the dream, he was in a beautiful house, his own house, filled with light and peace and plenty. He woke up from that dream feeling something he hadn't felt in decades. Hope. Real hope. He kept doing the practice. Night 14. He got a letter in the mail. It was from a lawyer. Apparently, a distant cousin he barely knew, didn't even remember meeting, had passed away and left him some money in the will. Not a fortune, but enough. $30,000. At 68 years old, he'd never had that much money at one time in his entire life. Night 21. He completed his 21 nights. And he didn't stop the practice. He kept doing it. And over the next year, using that inheritance wisely, making investments he'd never had the confidence or knowledge to make before, being guided by what felt like intuition, but was really his awakened prosperity consciousness, he tripled that money. At 69 years old, he was more financially secure than he'd been at any point in his 7 decades of life. He said later, "I thought I was too old. I thought it was too late. I thought my poverty was permanent. But I learned that it's never too late to change consciousness, and consciousness is all that matters. I changed my thoughts before sleep for 21 nights, and my whole life changed. I only wish I'd learned this 50 years ago, but better late than never. Better at 68 than never at all." So if any part of you is thinking, maybe I'm too old, or maybe I've been poor too long, or maybe I've made too many mistakes, let that story encourage you. It's never too late. Consciousness can change at any age. And when consciousness changes, circumstances change, always, without exception. You're doing this right now. You're changing your consciousness as you sleep. Night 1 of 21. And every night builds on the previous night, strengthens the new programming, weakens the old patterns until the transformation is complete and irreversible. Trust this process. Trust your brain's ability to rewire itself. Trust the law of substitution. Trust that consciousness creates circumstance. Trust that you're being transformed right now in these very moments as you rest. The next hour will continue this beautiful work. More stories, more substitutions, more transformation. Everything is perfect. Everything is working. You are becoming wealthy in consciousness, which means you are becoming wealthy in experience. Sleep deeply. Rest peacefully. Transform completely. All is well. We've crossed into the third hour now, and you're in the deepest part of your sleep cycle. This is when delta waves are strongest, when your brain is doing its most profound reconstruction work, when the subconscious is most open and receptive. Everything you hear from this point forward is going into the deepest layers of your mind, installing itself permanently, becoming part of your automatic programming. I want to tell you a story now about something Florence Scovel Shinn called "The invisible becomes visible," because this is one of the most important principles to understand about how manifestation actually works. Most people think manifestation means creating something out of nothing, making something appear that didn't exist before. But that's not how it works. Everything that exists in the visible world first existed in the invisible world of consciousness, thought, imagination, belief. The invisible always precedes the visible. The invisible always creates the visible. Your bank account right now, whatever number is in there, that's the visible. But that number was created by something invisible, by your consciousness about money, by your beliefs about what's possible for you, by your thoughts about deserving and receiving, by your expectations about how money flows. All invisible, all consciousness. And that invisible consciousness materialized as the visible circumstance of your bank balance. This is why trying to change the visible without changing the invisible never works long term. You might get a temporary windfall. You might hustle and force your way to a bit more income. But if the invisible consciousness hasn't changed, you'll lose that money or something will happen to bring you back to the level that matches your consciousness. It's like trying to change your reflection in a mirror by touching the mirror instead of changing what's in front of the mirror. But when you change the invisible, when you transform your consciousness, the visible must change to match. It has no choice. The reflection always matches what's being reflected. If you change from poverty consciousness to prosperity consciousness, your bank account, your income, your opportunities, your entire financial reality will reorganize to reflect that new consciousness. Not might, will. It's law. There was a woman Florence worked with who was an artist, a painter, and she was talented, truly gifted, but she could never make money from her art. She would paint these beautiful pieces and then either give them away or sell them for almost nothing, because she had this deep belief that art wasn't supposed to be commercial, that real artists suffered for their work, that there was something noble about being a starving artist. This was all invisible, consciousness, belief, identity, and it created the visible circumstance of her being broke despite having valuable skills. She came to Florence not because she wanted to make money from art, she'd given up on that, but because she was so poor she couldn't afford art supplies anymore and was about to give up painting altogether. Florence listened to her story and then said something that shocked the woman. She said, "You're not poor because you're an artist. You're poor because you believe artists should be poor. That's invisible consciousness creating visible circumstance. Change the consciousness, and the circumstance must change." The artist protested. She said all the usual things about how the art world is corrupt, how real art doesn't sell, how commercial success means you've sold out. And Florence let her talk, let her express all of that consciousness, and then said simply, "Do you want to keep that consciousness and keep that poverty? Or do you want to try a different consciousness and see what happens?" The artist was desperate enough to try. Florence taught her to substitute every thought about money and art. Artists are meant to be poor became artists are meant to prosper. My art blesses people and they bless me with abundance. Selling art is selling out became selling art is sharing art. And I deserve to be compensated generously. Nobody will pay what my work is worth became the right people will find my work and pay joyfully, abundantly, more than I expect. And most importantly, Florence taught her to visualize before sleep. To see herself in a beautiful studio, well stocked with the finest supplies, painting freely without financial stress, selling paintings for prices that seemed impossible to her current consciousness, living abundantly from her art, to feel what that would feel like, to experience it in imagination so vividly that it became real in consciousness, because once it's real in consciousness, it must become real in circumstance. The artist did this practice faithfully every night, substituting thoughts, visualizing abundance, falling asleep in the consciousness of prosperity. And around day 11, something shifted inside her. She was looking at one of her paintings, and instead of thinking, "This is nice, but nobody will buy it," she thought automatically, naturally, "This is valuable, and someone will be blessed to own it and will pay me well for it." It wasn't an affirmation she was forcing herself to think. It was just what she thought. Her consciousness had shifted. The next day, she put that painting in a small gallery on consignment, something she'd been too afraid to do before. Within 3 days, it sold, for 5 times what she would have asked for it. The buyer loved it so much they commissioned 3 more pieces, which sold even faster, which led to a small exhibition, which led to a wealthy collector discovering her work, which led to representation by a prestigious gallery, which led to her making more money from her art in 6 months than she'd made in the previous 6 years combined. But here's what she said was the most remarkable part. She said, "The art didn't change. I was painting the same quality work when I was poor. But my consciousness changed. I went from art and money don't mix to my art deserves abundant compensation." And the invisible consciousness change created visible circumstance change. The money was always available, the buyers were always out there, the opportunities were always possible. But my old consciousness couldn't access them, couldn't see them, couldn't receive them. New consciousness opened doors that were closed before. This is what's happening for you right now. You're changing the invisible. You're transforming consciousness. And as you do, the visible will change to match. Your income will increase. Your opportunities will multiply. Your financial stress will dissolve. Not because you're working harder or doing more, but because you've changed the invisible consciousness that creates all visible circumstances. Let me talk now about something that might be happening for you over these 21 nights. Something that Florence called the dark night before the dawn. Sometimes when you start doing deep consciousness work like this, especially work around money, things can seem to get worse before they get better. An unexpected bill might arrive. A client might cancel. Something might break that costs money to fix. And it's very tempting to think, "See, this doesn't work. Things are getting worse. I should stop." But Florence taught that this is actually evidence that the work is working. When you start shifting consciousness from poverty to prosperity, you're disturbing old patterns, shaking loose old stuck energy, clearing out blockages. And sometimes those blockages have to surface to be released. Sometimes the last bit of the old consciousness creates one final circumstance to test whether you're really committed to the new consciousness or whether you'll fall back into the old at the first sign of difficulty. If you stay faithful to the substitution practice, if you refuse to let temporary visible circumstances shake your invisible consciousness transformation, you pass the test. The old pattern dissolves completely, and the breakthrough comes right after. But if you panic, if you go back to poverty thinking, if you let the circumstance dictate your consciousness instead of letting consciousness dictate circumstance, you stay stuck in the old pattern. So if something challenging happens financially during these 21 days, don't panic. Don't think you're cursed or that this isn't working. Instead, see it as the old consciousness making its last stand before it dies completely. Substitute even more faithfully. Affirm even more powerfully. Visualize even more vividly. Hold to the new consciousness regardless of what the old circumstances look like. And watch as those old circumstances dissolve and new ones appear to match your transformed consciousness. There was a man who started this practice, and on day 5, his car broke down and needed $1,500 in repairs he didn't have. His first instinct was to panic, to think, "Of course this happened. Nothing ever works out for me. Even this consciousness stuff is failing." But he caught himself. He remembered Florence's teaching about the dark night before dawn. So instead of spiraling into poverty consciousness, he substituted. "I don't have money for this" became, "Money comes to me easily for all my needs." "This is a disaster" became, "This is working out perfectly. Solutions are appearing now." He stayed in that consciousness, kept doing his nightly practice, refused to let circumstances dictate his thoughts. And 3 days later, day 8 of his practice, he got a call from a company he'd interviewed with months ago and never heard back from. They wanted to hire him. Starting salary was $10,000 more per year than his current job, and they offered him a signing bonus to start immediately. The signing bonus was exactly $3,000. He paid for the car repair and still had $1,500 left over. He said later, "The car breaking down wasn't bad luck. It was the universe testing whether I really believed in abundance or whether I just believed in it when things were easy. I chose to believe regardless of circumstances. And the universe responded by proving that my consciousness creates my circumstances, not the other way around. So remember this as you go through your 21 nights. Circumstances are temporary. Consciousness is causal. Don't let temporary circumstances shake your consciousness. Hold steady. Keep substituting. Keep affirming. Keep visualizing. And trust that the visible is reorganizing itself to match the invisible. Let's go deeper now with more substitution, focusing on specific abundance beliefs that need to be installed at the subconscious level. I substitute the belief, "There's not enough to go around," with, "The universe is infinitely abundant. There's more than enough for everyone, including me." I substitute, "If I win, someone else has to lose," with, "Everyone can prosper simultaneously. Success is not a zero-sum game. There's unlimited wealth available." I substitute, "I have to fight and struggle for every dollar, with money flows to me easily. Effortlessly, like breathing, like natural law." I substitute, "Rich people took all the wealth. With new wealth is created every day. Opportunities are infinite. My prosperity doesn't require anyone's poverty." I substitute, "The economy is bad, so I can't prosper. With my supply comes from God, not the economy. Infinite supply is available regardless of external conditions." I substitute, "I'm not educated enough to make real money," with, "Infinite intelligence guides me to wealth. Wisdom is worth more than education. I am divinely guided to prosperity." I substitute, "I'm too young," or "I'm too old," with, "Age is irrelevant. Prosperity is available at every stage of life. Now is the perfect time." I substitute, "I don't know the right people," with, "The right people are being guided to me right now. Divine connections are forming." I substitute, "My family will judge me if I become wealthy," with, "My prosperity inspires my family. I'm breaking generational poverty patterns. I'm a blessing to everyone around me." I substitute, "Money changes people for the worse," with, "Money amplifies who you already are. I'm a good person with money. Wealth allows me to do more good in the world." Every single one of these substitutions is crucial because these are the invisible beliefs that create visible circumstances. If you believe there's not enough, you'll experience not enough. If you believe you have to struggle, you'll struggle. If you believe age is a barrier, age will be a barrier. But substitute these limiting beliefs with expansive truth, and your circumstances expand to match. Your subconscious is absorbing all of this right now. Even if you don't consciously remember any of it tomorrow, even if you're so deeply asleep you're not aware of hearing words at all, your subconscious is taking it all in, processing it, installing it as new programming, using it to rebuild your neural pathways during this sleep cycle. Trust that it's working. Trust that transformation is happening. Trust that you're becoming a different person in consciousness, which means you're becoming a different person in circumstances too. I want to share something now about the power of gratitude in the manifestation process, because gratitude and substitution work together beautifully. When you substitute a thought of lack with a thought of abundance, follow it with gratitude. "I don't have enough money" becomes, "I am abundantly provided for, and I'm so grateful for this provision." The gratitude seals the substitution, makes it more emotionally real, tells your subconscious, "This is true, and I appreciate it. Florence taught that gratitude for what you have opens the channels for more to come. Gratitude for what you want, as if you already have it, creates it. When you say, "Thank you for my abundance," before the abundance is visible, you're operating in the consciousness of abundance, and consciousness creates circumstance. You're treating the invisible as real, which makes it become real in the visible. So as part of your nightly practice, after you substitute thoughts, spend a few minutes in gratitude. Thank you for my wealth. Thank you for money flowing to me constantly. Thank you for opportunities appearing everywhere. Thank you for being provided for so generously. Thank you for financial freedom. Thank you for abundance in every area of my life. Even if you can't see it yet in circumstances, feel the gratitude as if it's already done. Because in consciousness, it is already done. There was a woman who was in such dire financial circumstances that she had literally $5 to her name. $5. That was all that stood between her and complete destitution. She found Florence's teachings and learned about substitution and gratitude, and she thought, "I have nothing to lose. I'll try this." That night, lying in her bed in a room she could no longer afford, she began her practice. "I only have $5" became, "I am abundantly wealthy. Money flows to me now." And then she added, "Thank you. Thank you for my abundance. Thank you for the money that's coming to me. Thank you for being provided for so generously." She felt ridiculous saying thank you for abundance she didn't have, for provision she couldn't see, but she did it anyway. She fell asleep whispering, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." The next morning, day 1, nothing changed externally. She still had $5, but she felt different, calmer, less panicked. She did the practice again that night. Day 2, day 3, day 4, still just $5, but the panic was completely gone. She felt certain, though she couldn't explain why, that she was going to be okay. Day 5. She was walking down the street and saw a help wanted sign in a shop window. Something made her go in and ask about it. They hired her on the spot, cash payment daily. She made $40 that first day. Day 6, she made $50. She kept doing her nightly practice, substituting lack with abundance, expressing gratitude for provision. Day 12, a customer in the shop turned out to be a business owner who needed help with a project. Offered her freelance work, $300. Day 16, the shop owner liked her so much he made her assistant manager. Salary position with benefits. Day 21, she'd gone from $5 and homeless to employed, housed, and starting to save money. She said later, "The gratitude was the key. When I started saying thank you before I could see anything to be thankful for, I shifted into the consciousness of abundance. And consciousness created circumstance. The money appeared because I was already grateful for it in the invisible, which made it materialize in the visible. So practice gratitude now, even in your sleep. Thank you. Thank you for my abundance. Thank you for money flowing to me. Thank you for opportunities. Thank you for provision. Thank you for wealth. Thank you for financial freedom. Thank you." Let gratitude fill you, even as you sleep, especially as you sleep, because gratitude is one of the highest vibrations, one of the most powerful states of consciousness for manifestation. Let me guide you through another visualization now, one that will help anchor the consciousness of prosperity even more deeply. Imagine yourself 6 months from now, July of 2026. You're looking back at this moment, this night of January 2nd, 2026, when you started your 21-day transformation, and you're amazed at how much has changed. Your income has increased significantly. Maybe you got a raise, maybe you changed jobs, maybe your business took off, maybe money came from unexpected sources, but somehow, some way, you're making more money than you were 6 months ago, and it feels natural. It feels normal. It feels like this is just who you are now. A person who makes good money. Your financial stress is gone. You're not worried about bills anymore. You have money in savings. You have a cushion. You feel secure. When unexpected expenses come up, and they do because that's life, you handle them easily, without panic, without drama, Because you have the resources and you trust that more resources are always available. You've made good financial decisions over these 6 months. Investments that paid off. Purchases that added value to your life. Savings that grew. Debts that got paid down or eliminated. You managed money wisely because you were thinking clearly from abundance consciousness instead of fearfully from scarcity consciousness. And people around you have noticed. Your energy is different. You're calmer, more confident, more generous. You have money to help others now. You can treat friends to dinner without stressing about the cost. You can give to causes you care about. You can live the life you want to live instead of just surviving. And when people ask you, what changed? How did this happen? You tell them about this night, January 2nd, 2026. The night you started listening to a sleep meditation about the law of substitution. The night you began reprogramming your subconscious. The 21 nights that transformed your consciousness, which transformed your circumstances. And you tell them, it works. I'm living proof. Change your consciousness, and your life changes. It's law. Hold this vision. Feel this reality. Know that this is your future, and it's not just possible, it's probable, it's inevitable if you complete these 21 nights faithfully. See it, feel it, believe it, receive it. It's already done in consciousness, which means it's already done in circumstance. It's just unfolding in time. More substitution now, going into deep identity and deservingness issues. I substitute I don't deserve wealth with I absolutely deserve wealth. It's my divine birthright. I claim it now. I substitute I'm not good enough to be rich with I'm perfect exactly as I am. Wealth has nothing to do with being good enough. It's about consciousness, and I have prosperity consciousness. I substitute if I get money, something bad will happen with when I have money, good things happen. I use money for good. Money is safe for me to have. I substitute, I'll lose it if I get it, with, I keep and grow all wealth that comes to me. I'm an excellent steward of money. My abundance is permanent. I substitute, I'm not smart enough to manage wealth, with I am guided by infinite intelligence in all financial matters. I make wise decisions. I am capable and competent with money. I substitute, people will want money from me, with I set healthy boundaries. I'm generous when appropriate. I manage my wealth with wisdom. I substitute, I'll become greedy if I have money, with I remain kind, generous, and grounded regardless of my bank balance. Money doesn't change who I am. It amplifies the good I'm already doing. I substitute, spiritual people shouldn't have money, with money is spiritual when used with love. Prosperity allows me to fund my purpose. Wealth and spirituality are compatible and complementary. These deep substitutions around deserving and identity are doing profound work in your subconscious right now. Many people sabotage their own financial success because deep down they don't believe they deserve it, or they're afraid of what will happen if they have it. But as these substitutions install new beliefs, those old sabotaging patterns dissolve. You become someone who naturally, easily, comfortably receives and keeps wealth. Let's affirm now your new identity. I am a wealthy person. This is not something I'm trying to become. This is who I am right now in consciousness, and consciousness is the only reality that matters. I am prosperous. I am abundant. I am provided for. I am financially blessed. I am divinely guided in all money matters. I am wise with wealth. I am generous with abundance. I am grateful for prosperity. I am living in financial freedom. This is who I am. This is my identity. This is my truth. And as you sleep through this night and the next 20 nights, this identity gets installed deeper and deeper until it's not something you're affirming. It's just who you are. You wake up on day 22 and you're just naturally a wealthy person in consciousness. And wealthy people in consciousness become wealthy people in circumstances. Always. Without exception. It's law. Rest now in this knowing. Rest in the certainty that transformation is happening at the deepest levels. Rest in trust that consciousness creates circumstance. Rest in faith that the invisible is becoming visible. Rest in peace, knowing you're provided for. You're guided, you're blessed, You're prosperous. Sleep deeply. Transform completely. Become wealthy now. All is well. We're entering the final third of this journey now, moving toward the completion of your first night of transformation. If you're still awake, you've been remarkably present for this entire process, and that's beautiful. But most likely, you're in the deepest layers of sleep now, and that's exactly where the most powerful work happens. Your conscious mind is completely offline, which means your subconscious is wide open, absorbing everything without any filter or resistance whatsoever. I want to teach you now about what Florence Scovel Shinn called the morning decree. Because while we've been focusing on bedtime practices and sleep programming, what you do in those first moments of waking is equally powerful. The morning is when you're transitioning from subconscious dominance back to conscious awareness. And there's a brief window, usually the first 5 to 10 minutes after you open your eyes, when you're still in that liminal space between worlds, when your subconscious is still accessible, but your conscious mind is starting to come online. If you wake up and immediately start thinking about problems, checking your phone for bad news, worrying about the day ahead, you're programming your subconscious with that energy, and it colors your entire day. But if you wake up and immediately start affirming, substituting, decreeing abundance, you set a completely different tone. You give your subconscious marching orders for the day. You tell it, today is a day of prosperity. Find evidence of that, create circumstances that match that, guide me toward that. So here's the morning decree that you'll use starting tomorrow morning, and every morning for the next 21 mornings, and honestly for the rest of your life if you want to maintain prosperity consciousness permanently. The moment you wake up, before you check your phone, before you get out of bed, before you start your mental to-do list, you say these words either out loud or silently in your mind. I wake as a wealthy person. This is not hope or wishful thinking. This is truth. In consciousness, I am wealthy, and consciousness creates all circumstances. Therefore, I am wealthy in circumstance too. It's just a matter of time before the visible catches up to the invisible. Divine supply has worked through my sleeping mind all night long. While I was resting, infinite intelligence was orchestrating my prosperity, arranging synchronicities, guiding people and opportunities toward me, dissolving blocks, opening channels. Today, abundance manifests naturally in my life, not because I'm going to force it or chase it, but because it's the natural result of my consciousness. I am provided for. I am blessed. Money flows to me today. Opportunities appear today. This is a prosperous day. Just those few sentences, spoken with intention in those first moments of waking, can completely transform your day. And when you transform 21 days in a row, you transform your life. So starting tomorrow morning, January 3rd, remember this. Morning decree. Wake as a wealthy person. Set your intention. Program your day. And watch what happens. Now let me tell you a story about a man who used specifically the combination of bedtime substitution and morning decree to manifest something that seemed absolutely impossible. This man was an immigrant, came to America with almost no money, didn't speak English well, had no connections, no education beyond high school in his home country, no safety net. By all logical analysis, he should have struggled his entire life. And for the first few years, he did struggle. He worked minimum wage jobs, lived in a tiny apartment with 4 other people, sent what little he could back to his family in his home country. But someone gave him a book by Florence Scovel Shinn, actually a photocopied translated version that had been passed around the immigrant community, and he read about consciousness creating circumstance, and something clicked for him. He thought, I came to this country with nothing external, but I can choose what I have internally. I can choose my consciousness. And if consciousness creates circumstance, then I can create any circumstance I want by choosing the right consciousness. So he started the practice. Every night before sleep, he would substitute every thought of poverty, every thought of limitation, every thought of, I can't because I'm an immigrant, or I can't because I don't speak perfect English, or I can't because I have no money or connections. He would substitute all of that with, I am guided by divine intelligence. I am in the right place at the right time. I am divinely connected to the right people. Opportunities come to me easily. Money flows to me abundantly. I am prosperous. And every morning when he woke up, before his feet hit the floor, he would say, I wake as a wealthy person. Divine supply worked through my sleeping mind. Today, abundance manifests in my life. He did this faithfully, not for 21 days, but for 90 days. Because he felt he had so much old programming to override that he needed extra time. Around day 30, something shifted. He was working a restaurant job, washing dishes, and the owner's son came in the back and started talking to him. They'd never really talked before. The son mentioned he was starting a small construction company, but didn't know anything about permits and paperwork. And this man, the immigrant, said, I can help with that. I'm good with paperwork. He wasn't really, but something in him knew he could figure it out. The son hired him to handle the administrative side of the construction company. It paid double what the restaurant paid. Day 45. The construction company got a big contract. They needed more workers. The man knew people in the immigrant community who needed work. He connected them. He became not just admin, but a sort of informal hiring manager. The owner's son was so impressed, he made him a partner. 20% of the company. Day 90. The company landed a massive contract with a property developer. That contract alone made the man's 20% worth more than he'd made in his entire life combined. By the end of the year, he owned his own apartment, had brought his family to America, was investing in real estate, was on his way to genuine wealth. People would ask him, how did you do this? You came here with nothing. You didn't speak the language. You had no advantages. And he would say, I had the greatest advantage that exists. I understood that consciousness creates circumstance. Every night I went to sleep in the consciousness of prosperity. Every morning I woke up in the consciousness of abundance, and slowly, steadily, inevitably, my circumstances reorganized themselves to match my consciousness. The opportunities were always there, but my old poverty consciousness couldn't see them. New prosperity consciousness could see them and seize them. This story is important because it destroys the excuse of circumstances. You might be thinking, but I don't have money, or but I don't have education, or but I don't have connections, or but I'm too old, or but I'm too young, or whatever your particular circumstance excuses. And this man's story proves that circumstances are not the cause of your financial situation. Consciousness is the cause. Circumstances are the effect. Change the cause, and the effect must change. You're changing the cause right now. You're transforming consciousness. And over these 21 nights, that transformation will become so complete, so deep, so permanent, that your external circumstances will have no choice but to transform to match. This is law. This is how reality works. And you're working with this law perfectly right now. Let me talk about something Florence called infinite supply, because this is a concept that, when you really get it, changes everything. Most people operate from a mentality of finite supply. They believe there's only so much money in the world, only so many opportunities, only so many resources. And if someone else gets some, that means less for them. This creates a consciousness of competition, scarcity, fear, hoarding. And that consciousness creates circumstances that match it, circumstances of struggle and lack. But the truth is that supply is infinite, truly infinite, not just a lot, but actually unlimited. Think about this. Money is not a fixed thing. It's created constantly. Every business transaction creates value. Every service rendered creates wealth. Every idea that gets implemented creates resources that didn't exist before. The total amount of wealth in the world is exponentially larger today than it was 100 years ago, and it'll be exponentially larger 100 years from now. Wealth is being created constantly, infinitely, everywhere, always. And beyond just money, there's the spiritual principle that the universe itself is infinitely abundant. God, Source, divine intelligence, whatever term resonates with you, is not limited. There is not a finite amount of divine supply that runs out if too many people draw from it. Every single person on this planet could be abundantly wealthy, and there would still be infinite supply available. Your prosperity does not require anyone else's poverty. Your success does not require anyone else's failure. There is enough for everyone, including you, especially you. When you truly internalize this, when you operate from consciousness of infinite supply instead of consciousness of finite scarcity, everything changes. You stop competing. You stop fearing. You stop thinking, I have to get mine before it runs out. You start thinking, there's more than enough for me and everyone else. I can relax. I can trust. I can open my hands and receive knowing there's always more where that came from. Florence told a story about a woman who ran a small shop and was always worried about competition. Every time another shop opened nearby, she would panic, thinking, they're going to take my customers. I'm going to lose business. And of course, operating from that consciousness of scarcity and competition, she did lose business. Her fear became self-fulfilling prophecy. Florence taught her about infinite supply. She said, there are enough customers for everyone. You are not competing for finite resources. You are each drawing from infinite supply. The customers who are meant for you will come to you. The customers who are meant for others will go to others. There's no competition in infinite supply. The woman struggled to believe this at first, but she started practicing it. Every time she saw a competitor, instead of thinking, they're taking from me, she would substitute, there's enough for everyone. My customers are coming to me now. I draw from infinite supply. Within months, her business actually grew. Not because the competition disappeared, but because her consciousness changed. She stopped operating from fear and scarcity and started operating from trust and abundance. And abundance consciousness creates abundant circumstances. Always. You're absorbing this principle right now in your sleep. The principle of infinite supply. You are not competing with anyone. You are not fighting for scraps of a limited pie. You are drawing from an infinite source that never runs dry, never runs out, is always available, always generous, always more than enough. This consciousness is being installed in your subconscious right now. And as it installs, your experience of financial reality will change to match it. Let's do more substitution, focusing specifically on this principle of infinite supply. I substitute there's not enough with there's more than enough. Supply is infinite. I draw from unlimited abundance. I substitute I have to compete for money with I cooperate with universal abundance. My prosperity doesn't require anyone else's lack. I substitute, if I succeed, someone else fails, with everyone can succeed. There's infinite success available. My win is not someone's loss. I substitute, resources are running out, with resources are infinite, constantly renewing, always available. I substitute, I have to hoard what I have, with I can give generously, because there's always more. The more I give, the more I receive. I substitute, I'm taking from others if I prosper, with my prosperity contributes to collective abundance. When I thrive, everyone benefits. I substitute, there's only so much to go around, with the universe is infinitely creative, infinitely generous, infinitely abundant. These substitutions are crucial because scarcity consciousness is one of the deepest blocks to prosperity. If you believe deep down that there's not enough, you'll create circumstances of not enough. But if you believe in infinite supply, if you trust in unlimited abundance, you'll create circumstances that reflect that truth. And the truth is, there is infinite supply. That's not wishful thinking. That's reality. The universe is abundant. You're part of that abundant universe. Therefore, abundance is your natural state. Let me share one more teaching from Florence, something she called divine substance. She taught that everything in the physical world is made from divine substance. Your body is divine substance in the form of flesh and bone. Your house is divine substance in the form of wood and brick. Your car is divine substance in the form of metal and glass. And money is divine substance in the form of currency. It's all the same substance, just different forms. This means that if you need money, you're not asking for something that's scarce or hard to get. You're just asking for divine substance to take the form of money instead of some other form. And since divine substance is infinite and everywhere, and you're literally made of it and surrounded by it constantly, manifesting money is not difficult or unlikely. It's actually natural and easy once your consciousness aligns with it. Florence used to say, "You're swimming in an ocean of divine substance every moment of your life. You can't get away from it even if you try." Manifesting money is not about creating something out of nothing. It's about directing the infinite substance that's already all around you to take the form you need. When you understand this, when you really get it, manifesting becomes almost laughably simple. You're not trying to make something happen that's unlikely. You're just allowing the natural flow of infinite substance to take the form of money in your life. You're absorbing this teaching right now. Divine substance is infinite. It's everywhere. It's everything, including you, including money. And you have the ability through consciousness to direct this substance into the forms you need. You need money? Divine substance becomes money for you. You need opportunities? Divine substance becomes opportunities. You need solutions? Divine substance becomes solutions. It's infinitely malleable, infinitely available, infinitely responsive to consciousness. And the best time to work with this principle is during sleep. Because during sleep, your conscious mind, with all its doubts and logic and "but how will that work?" questions, is offline. Your subconscious just accepts the truth. Divine substance is infinite. I am made of it. I can direct it. I manifest money easily. No argument, no resistance, just installation of truth. Let's affirm this together now. I am surrounded by infinite divine substance. This substance is the raw material of all manifestation. I direct this substance through my consciousness. I think prosperity and substance becomes money. I think abundance and substance becomes opportunities. I think provision and substance becomes solutions. I am a conscious creator working with infinite supply. Money manifests for me easily because I'm just directing infinite substance into the form of currency. This is natural. This is simple. This is my reality. Feel this truth settling into your subconscious. You're not separate from infinite supply. You're not begging an external source to give you money. You're directing the infinite substance that you're already part of to take forms that serve you. You're a conscious creator in an abundant universe. This is your power. This is your inheritance. This is your truth. I want to talk now about something that might seem counterintuitive, but is actually crucial for manifesting wealth. Florence taught that you have to be willing to let go of exactly how money comes. Most people say they want money, but then they get very specific and rigid about how it has to come. It has to come from my job, or it has to come from this particular client, or it has to come from this investment. And by being so specific about the channel, they close off 99 other channels that the universe was trying to use. Florence said, "Your supply comes from God, not from any human channel. Humans are just the channels that divine supply flows through. But the source is infinite, and the channels are infinite too. If you're fixated on one channel and that channel closes, you panic and think your supply is cut off. But if you understand that God is your source and there are infinite channels, when one closes, you just trust that another will open. Actually, usually several others open to more than compensate. There was a man Florence worked with whose entire income came from one client. He had a contract that paid him very well, and he'd gotten comfortable and dependent on it. Then the client canceled the contract. The man went into complete panic. He came to Florence saying, "I've lost my supply. That client was everything. I don't know what I'm going to do." And Florence corrected him very firmly. She said, "You have not lost your supply. You cannot lose your supply because your supply is infinite and divine. What you lost was one channel, one human channel that divine supply was flowing through. And the only reason that channel closed is because God has bigger channels to open for you. But you were so fixated on that one channel that you couldn't see the others. Now you're forced to look. Now you're forced to trust. Now you're forced to remember that your source is God, not one client." The man struggled with this teaching. He kept trying to get that client back kept focusing on that one closed channel. But finally, out of desperation more than faith, he started saying, "My supply comes from God, not from any single channel. Infinite channels are opening for me now." He would say this before sleep. He would say it when he woke up. He would say it every time he started to panic about the lost client. And around 3 weeks later, multiple things happened almost simultaneously. A former colleague called with a job opportunity that actually paid more than the old client. Someone he met at a party mentioned they needed exactly what he offered. He got an unexpected check from a profit-sharing agreement he'd signed years ago and forgotten about. Within a month, he had more income than before. But now it was diversified across multiple channels instead of dependent on one. He said to Florence, "You were right. Losing that client was actually a blessing, because I was in a dangerous position having all my eggs in one basket. But I never would have branched out if that channel hadn't closed. Now I understand. God is my source. Humans are just channels, and there are infinite channels available. So as you're manifesting money over these 21 days, don't get attached to how it comes. Maybe it'll come through your job, maybe through a side hustle, maybe through an unexpected gift, maybe through an inheritance, maybe through finding money, maybe through a refund, maybe through someone repaying a debt, maybe through winning something, maybe through a business opportunity, maybe through ways you can't even imagine right now. Stay open. Stay flexible. Trust that infinite supply has infinite channels, and the right channels are opening for you right now. Substitute any limiting thoughts about channels. I substitute, money can only come from my job, with money comes to me from expected and unexpected sources. Infinite channels are available. I substitute, I have to make money the way everyone else does, with I am divinely guided to unique and perfect channels for me. I substitute, if this opportunity doesn't work out, I'm doomed, with this or something better is coming to me. God has infinite ways to provide. I substitute, I can only make money doing what I already know, with new opportunities I haven't even thought of yet are appearing. I substitute, I have to control exactly how it happens, with I trust divine intelligence to orchestrate my prosperity through the perfect channels. This openness, this flexibility, this trust in infinite channels, it's being programmed into your subconscious right now as you sleep. And when you wake up, you'll find yourself naturally less attached, less controlling, more trusting. You'll notice opportunities you would have missed before because you were too fixated on one specific way. You'll be open and available to receive from multiple sources simultaneously. And money will flow to you more easily because you're not restricting the flow to one narrow channel. Rest in this knowing now. Rest in trust. Rest in the certainty that divine supply is infinite, that channels are infinite, that your provision is guaranteed not because of any single circumstance or person or opportunity, but because you are connected to the infinite source itself, and that connection can never be broken, never be diminished, never be anything less than absolutely abundant. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll be different. Not in a way that anyone else might notice at first. Not in a way that you can necessarily put into words, but different at the deep level. More trusting, more open, more certain, more abundant in consciousness. And that difference will grow day by day, night by night, until by day 21, you're so transformed that the old you seems like a distant memory, and the new abundant you is all that remains. Sleep peacefully, transform deeply, prosper abundantly. All is well. Everything is working perfectly. You are becoming wealthy in consciousness, which means you are becoming wealthy in circumstance. It's already done. Rest now. The final hour continues this beautiful work. More transformation, more substitution, more installation of prosperity consciousness. Everything is perfect. Everything is exactly as it should be. Good night. We're moving into the final hour now, approaching the completion of this first transformational night. Your body has been resting for 3 hours. Your brain has been in deep delta wave sleep, doing profound reconstruction work. Synapses have been forming. Neural pathways have been strengthening. Old programming has been dissolving. New programming has been installing. You are literally not the same person in your brain structure as you were when you lay down 3 hours ago. The transformation is real, it's measurable, it's physical, and it's permanent. Let me tell you another story now, one that illustrates perfectly how quickly consciousness can shift when you're working with these principles during sleep. This is the story of a young woman, mid-20s, who was working 3 jobs just to make ends meet. 3 separate jobs. She would wake up at 5 in the morning, work at a coffee shop until noon, then go to an office job from 1 until 6, then work at a restaurant from 7 until midnight. Get home around 1 in the morning, sleep for 4 hours, wake up, and do it all again. She was exhausted all the time. She had no social life, no time for herself, no joy in her days. Just work, sleep, barely surviving. And she told herself this story. This is just how life is for people like me. I wasn't born into money. I don't have a degree. I have to work this hard just to pay rent and eat. This is my reality and there's no way out. One of her co-workers at the restaurant noticed how exhausted she always was and gave her a book by Florence Scovel Shinn. The woman almost didn't read it because she was so tired she could barely focus. But one night, unable to sleep because her body was so wired from overwork, she started reading. And she got to the part about consciousness creating circumstance, and she started crying. Because she realized she'd been creating her own prison with her consciousness. She was thinking constantly, I have to work this hard to survive. There's no other way. This is just how it is. And that consciousness was creating circumstances that proved it true. She would get opportunities to reduce her workload, but she couldn't see them because her consciousness was so locked into, I have to work 3 jobs to survive. She was literally blind to any other possibility. That night, she decided to try the substitution practice, even though she was skeptical, even though she was so tired she could barely think. She lay down, and thoughts came immediately. You have to work 3 jobs. There's no other way. You'll always struggle. And she substituted. I am abundantly provided for. One source of income is more than enough for me. Ease is available to me now. The thoughts kept coming. She kept substituting. For maybe 30 minutes until she fell asleep from sheer exhaustion. But something had shifted. The next day at the coffee shop, a customer who was a regular started chatting with her. Asked what else she did besides coffee. She mentioned her other 2 jobs. The customer, who owned a marketing company, said, Why are you working 3 low-paying jobs when you could work 1 good job? We're hiring. The position pays more than all 3 of your jobs combined. Are you interested? She almost said no out of habit, out of disbelief. But something in her, some new tiny seed of consciousness that had been planted the night before, made her say yes. She interviewed. She got the job. Within 2 weeks, she had quit all 3 jobs and started this new one. Better pay, normal hours, benefits, room to grow. Her entire life transformed in 2 weeks because her consciousness had shifted in one night. She said later, I'd been praying for years for my situation to change, but I was praying from poverty consciousness. Please help me survive these 3 jobs. Please give me strength to keep struggling. And the universe gave me exactly what I was asking for. More strength to struggle. But the night I shifted my consciousness from, I have to work 3 jobs to, I am provided for with ease, everything changed. The opportunity was probably always there, but I couldn't see it until my consciousness shifted. This story is important because it shows how fast things can move once consciousness changes. You don't necessarily have to wait 21 days for external circumstances to shift, though the 21 days are important for making the consciousness change permanent and irreversible. Sometimes opportunities appear within days, within hours even, once you shift your internal state. So stay alert over these next 3 weeks. Watch for synchronicities. Notice opportunities. Pay attention when people say things, or offer things, or mention things that could be channels for your abundance. The universe is always responding to your consciousness, always, every moment. And as your consciousness shifts from poverty to prosperity over these 21 nights, the universe's response will shift too. Things that weren't possible before become possible. People who weren't in your life show up. Opportunities that didn't exist manifest. Money that was blocked flows freely. It's law. Consciousness creates circumstance. Change one and the other must follow. Let me guide you now through a powerful visualization practice, something Florence called going to the end. This means instead of visualizing the process of getting what you want, you visualize having already received it. You go to the end result. You experience it as already done. Because in consciousness, it is already done. The invisible is complete. Now you're just waiting for the visible to catch up. So imagine right now, in your mind's eye, even as you sleep, that it's January 22nd, 2026. You've completed all 21 nights. You wake up that morning and you check your bank account, and there's more money there than you expected. Not a ridiculous amount necessarily, not like you won the lottery, though that's possible too, but more than there should be based on your old consciousness. Maybe it's a deposit you'd forgotten was coming. Maybe it's a refund. Maybe it's payment for something. But it's there. Evidence that something has shifted. You get out of bed and you notice how you feel in your body. There's no knot of anxiety in your stomach. There's no tension in your shoulders. There's no racing thoughts about how you're going to pay for things. You feel calm, peaceful, certain, provided for. This is the feeling of prosperity consciousness. Not arrogance, not entitlement, just quiet certainty that you're taken care of, that abundance is yours, that money flows to you naturally. You go about your day and opportunities present themselves. Maybe it's a conversation that leads somewhere. Maybe it's an idea that drops into your mind. Maybe it's a phone call or email or text message. But something happens that opens a door financially. And instead of being surprised, you just think, of course, this is normal now. Money comes to me. This is just how my life works. It's your new normal. Over the next weeks and months, this becomes consistent. Money comes regularly, surprisingly easily, from your work and from unexpected places. You're making more, saving more, investing more, giving more. You've moved from survival mode to thriving mode, from paycheck to having reserves and cushion, from anxiety to peace, from poverty consciousness to prosperity consciousness. And all of it started on this night, January 2nd, 2026, when you began this practice. Hold this vision. Feel this reality. Experience it as already done. Because in the world of consciousness, which is the only world that matters because consciousness creates all other worlds, it is already done. You are already prosperous. You are already abundant. You are already wealthy. The circumstances are just catching up to the consciousness. And they will. They must. It's law. Let's do another round of substitution now, going very deep into core beliefs about money and self-worth. I substitute, I'm not worthy of wealth, with, I am infinitely worthy, my worth is inherent, not earned, and abundance is my birthright. I substitute, I have to prove I deserve money, with I deserve abundance simply by existing. I am a beloved child of an abundant universe. I substitute, I'm not important enough to be rich, with every person is equally important, equally deserving, equally entitled to prosperity, including me, especially me. I substitute, God wants me to be humble and poor, with God wants me to prosper, to thrive, to live abundantly. Poverty is not spiritual. Abundance allows me to do more good. I substitute, suffering makes me a better person, with joy makes me a better person. Peace makes me a better person. Abundance allows me to be my best self. I substitute, I have to sacrifice to have money. With money comes to me through joy, through alignment, through doing what I love, no suffering required. I substitute, rich people are bad, so I shouldn't be rich, with money is neutral. I am good. I will be good with money. Wealth allows me to amplify my goodness. I substitute, I'll lose myself if I have money, with, I remain authentically me, regardless of bank balance. Money doesn't change my essence, only my options. These deep core substitutions around worth and identity are doing the most profound work of all. Because at the very bottom of poverty consciousness, beneath all the surface thoughts about, I can't afford this, or I don't make enough, there's usually a core belief of, I'm not worthy, or I don't deserve, or I'm not important enough. And if that core belief doesn't change, you can work and hustle and manifest, and it won't stick, because at the deepest level you don't believe you should have it. But these substitutions are changing that core belief right now. You are worthy. You do deserve. You are important. You are beloved by the universe. You are entitled to abundance. Not because you earned it through suffering or proving yourself, but because you exist. Because you're here. Because you're part of an abundant universe, and abundance is your natural inheritance. This is truth. This is being installed in your subconscious right now at the deepest possible level. Florence used to say that most people are taught to believe they have to earn everything through hard work and struggle. And while work is good and important, the idea that you have to suffer to deserve good things is a lie. That's poverty consciousness. Prosperity consciousness knows that good things, including money, can come easily, joyfully, through alignment and flow rather than through grinding and struggling. This doesn't mean you won't work. It means your work will feel different. Instead of desperate hustling from fear of not having enough, you'll work from inspiration, from joy, from purpose. And ironically, that kind of work tends to be far more productive and profitable than fear-based work. When you're operating from abundance consciousness, from certainty of provision, you make better decisions, you attract better opportunities, you create better outcomes. Ease produces more than struggle, flow produces more than force, trust produces more than fear. You're learning this in your sleep right now. Your subconscious is absorbing the truth that ease is available, that flow is natural, that you don't have to suffer to prosper. And as this sinks in over 21 nights, your entire approach to work and money will transform. You'll stop grinding yourself down. You'll start moving with inspiration and joy. And you'll discover that you actually make more money and have more success when you're relaxed and trusting than when you're stressed and struggling. Let me tell you one final story. A story about an older man, late 50s, who had worked incredibly hard his entire life. He grew up poor, believed you had to work yourself to the bone to get anywhere. And he did. He worked 60, 70-hour weeks for decades, climbed the corporate ladder through sheer force of will and endless hours, made good money eventually, but at what cost? His health was destroyed. His marriage had fallen apart. His kids barely knew him. He had money but no peace, no joy, no relationships, no life outside of work. And at 58, he had a health crisis. Not quite a heart attack, but close enough to scare him. He was forced to take time off work. And during that time off, lying in a hospital bed with nothing to do but think, he realized he'd been operating from poverty consciousness his entire life. Even when he made good money, he was still thinking, I have to work harder or I'll lose it all. I have to prove I deserve this. I can't rest or it'll all disappear. Someone, a nurse actually, saw him stressing even in his hospital bed, worrying about work, checking email constantly. And she said, you know, you almost died. Maybe the universe is trying to tell you something. Maybe it's time to try a different way. And she told him about Florence Scovel Shinn and consciousness and the law of substitution. He started the practice right there in the hospital. Every night before sleep, substituting thoughts of, I have to work myself to death to survive, with I am provided for even when I rest. Abundance flows to me through ease and joy. I don't have to destroy myself to prosper. He did this for 21 nights while recovering. And something miraculous happened. While he was out of work, forced to rest, his company restructured. And instead of losing his position like he feared, he was offered early retirement with a very generous package. More than he would have made if he'd kept grinding for another 7 years until normal retirement age. Plus his investments, which he'd been too busy to pay attention to, had grown significantly during a market upswing. He was actually more financially secure at 58, stepping away from the grind, than he would have been if he'd kept pushing. He said, I spent my whole life believing I had to work myself to death to have security. and the universe had to literally almost kill me to get me to stop and realize that ease is available, that rest is okay, that abundance can come through flow instead of force. I wasted decades suffering unnecessarily because of poverty consciousness. But at least I learned before it was too late. Now I'm actually going to enjoy the money I have instead of just accumulating it through misery. This story is important because many of you listening were raised to believe you have to struggle, that you have to sacrifice, that easy money is somehow suspect or you didn't earn it properly. And all of that is poverty consciousness. Prosperity consciousness knows that abundance can come easily, that you're allowed to receive without suffering for it, that the universe is generous and doesn't require you to destroy yourself to deserve good things. As you sleep right now, any beliefs about needing to struggle are being dissolved. Any programming about earning through suffering is being erased. You're being reprogrammed with the truth. Ease is available, flow is natural, abundance comes through alignment, not through grinding yourself down. And when you wake up tomorrow, and the days after, you'll find yourself naturally moving toward ease, naturally choosing flow, naturally trusting instead of forcing. And your results will be better. Your income will be higher, your life will be richer in every sense. More substitution now, specifically around ease and flow. I substitute, I have to work hard for money. With money comes to me through joy and alignment. Work can be easy and profitable. I substitute, if it's easy it doesn't count, with easy is evidence of alignment, flow is natural, I deserve ease. I substitute, I have to sacrifice health for wealth, with I have both health and wealth. They support each other. I prosper in every area simultaneously. I substitute rest is lazy, with rest is essential. I recharge in rest. I'm more productive when I honor my need for ease. I substitute, I have to be stressed to be successful, with peace and success go together. I achieve more from calm than from stress. I substitute, struggle proves I'm trying hard enough, with ease proves I'm aligned, flow is evidence of being on the right path. I substitute, I'm not allowed to have it easy when others struggle, with my ease doesn't cause others struggle. The more I thrive, the more I can help others thrive too. I substitute, easy money is probably illegal or unethical, with money can come easily and ethically. There are infinite legitimate channels for abundant flow. These substitutions are liberating you from the prison of struggle consciousness. So many people are addicted to struggle. They think if they're not stressed and exhausted, then they're not doing enough. But that's backwards. Stress and exhaustion are signs of misalignment, of working against natural flow instead of with it. Ease and peace are signs of alignment, of working with universal abundance instead of against it. You're being realigned right now. Your consciousness is shifting from struggle to ease, from force to flow, from stress to peace. And as your consciousness shifts, your experience will shift. You'll find yourself naturally choosing opportunities that feel good instead of ones that feel hard. You'll find yourself working smarter, not harder. You'll find yourself making more money while working less, not because you're being lazy, but because you're being aligned. And here's something beautiful. When you're in flow, when you're at ease, when you're aligned, you're actually far more creative, far more intuitive, far more effective. Your best ideas come when you're relaxed, not when you're stressed. Your best decisions come from peace, not from panic. Your best work happens through inspiration, not through desperation. So ease isn't just more pleasant, it's actually more productive. It's better for your results and better for your soul. Let's affirm this new way of being. I move through life with ease. I trust the flow. I allow abundance instead of forcing it. I work from inspiration instead of desperation. I rest when I need to rest, knowing that provision continues even when I'm not actively working. I make excellent money while honoring my need for peace and balance. Success and ease go together in my life. Prosperity and peace are my reality. I am aligned with universal abundance, and it feels good. It feels natural. It feels easy. Feel this truth sinking in. Ease, flow, alignment, peace. These are not obstacles to prosperity. These are the path to prosperity. When you're at ease, you're open. When you're in flow, you're receptive. When you're aligned, channels open that were closed in struggle. When you're at peace, you think clearly and make wise decisions. Ease is not the enemy of success. Ease is the vehicle of success. And you're learning this in your sleep, which means it's going in deeper than any conscious learning could ever go. Your subconscious is rewiring itself right now to prefer ease over struggle, to choose flow over force, to trust instead of controlling. And when you wake tomorrow and in the days to come, you'll notice yourself naturally moving in that direction. Not because you're trying to, but because it's who you're becoming. A person who allows abundance instead of chasing it. A person who trusts flow instead of forcing outcomes. A person who knows that ease is available and prosperity is natural. We're approaching the end of this first night now. 4 hours of deep transformation. Your brain has been completely immersed in prosperity consciousness. Your subconscious has been absorbing substitutions, affirmations, stories, principles, truths. Old neural pathways have been weakening. New neural pathways have been strengthening. You are different now than you were when you started. Actually, measurably, physically different in your brain structure, and this is just night 1. Imagine night 2 building on this, night 3 going deeper, night 7 creating significant momentum, night 14 reaching critical mass, night 21 completing the transformation. Each night compounds the previous nights. Each night strengthens what was installed before. Each night takes you closer to complete and irreversible prosperity consciousness. By January 22nd, you will think about money so differently than you do now. The thoughts that come automatically will be thoughts of abundance, provision, ease, flow, trust. The old thoughts of lack, fear, struggle, scarcity will feel foreign, like they belong to someone else, someone you used to be, but aren't anymore. And when your thoughts change that profoundly, your life changes that profoundly. New thoughts, new choices, new actions, new results, new circumstances. Everything transforms from the inside out. So rest now in the completion of this first night. Rest in the knowing that profound work has been done. Rest in trust that this process works, that consciousness creates circumstance, that you're being transformed at the deepest levels. Tomorrow night you return for night 2, and the night after for night 3. Building, deepening, strengthening, until the transformation is complete and your prosperity is inevitable. Sleep deeply now. Rest completely. Trust perfectly. You are becoming wealthy in consciousness, which means you are becoming wealthy in circumstance. The invisible work is done. Now we wait with faith and patience for the visible to catch up. And it will. It always does. Consciousness creates circumstance. Always. Without exception, it's law. Good night. Sleep in abundance. Wake in prosperity. Everything is perfect. Everything is working. You are provided for. You are blessed. You are wealthy. It's already done. Rest now. Dream now. Transform now. Tomorrow, you wake as a new person. One night closer to complete financial freedom. One night deeper into prosperity consciousness. One night nearer to your abundant life. All is well. All is perfect. All is done. Sleep now. The final hour continues this beautiful work until you wake. And when you wake, you return to your life carrying this transformation with you. More calm about money. More certain of provision. More aligned with abundance. Day by day, night by night, becoming the wealthy person you were always meant to be. Rest, peace, abundance, transformation, sleep. It's all happening now. Good night. We've entered the final 30 minutes of your first night of transformation. Nearly 4 hours have passed since you lay down, since you closed your eyes, since you began this sacred journey of substituting poverty consciousness with prosperity consciousness. Your body has been deeply resting. Your brain has been profoundly working. And something miraculous has happened. You are not the same person anymore. Not metaphorically. Actually. Literally. Your neural pathways have been rewired. Your subconscious programming has been updated. Your consciousness has shifted. And when consciousness shifts, everything shifts. Let me share with you one final story, perhaps the most important story of all, because it's about the cumulative effect of this practice over 21 nights and beyond. This is the story of a woman who was in her 40s, divorced, raising 2 teenagers alone, working a job she hated, living paycheck to paycheck with nothing left over, nothing saved, nothing invested, no hope of retirement, feeling trapped in a life she never wanted but couldn't figure out how to change. She found Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings through a friend who saw how much she was struggling. And she was skeptical. She'd tried positive thinking before. She'd tried affirmations. She'd tried vision boards. Nothing had worked. She'd concluded that maybe some people were just meant to struggle, and she was one of them. But her friend was persistent, said, "Just try this for 21 nights. What do you have to lose?" And she was tired enough, desperate enough, to agree. Night 1, she did the substitution practice. It felt mechanical, fake, like she was lying to herself saying, "I am abundant," when her bank account said otherwise. But she did it anyway. Night 2, same thing. Still felt fake, but she kept going. Night 3, 4, 5. Around night 6, something started to shift. The substitutions didn't feel quite as fake anymore. Not because circumstances had changed, they hadn't really, but because something internal was softening, opening, becoming more receptive. Night 10. She was halfway through and she noticed something remarkable. She hadn't worried about money in 3 days. Not once. That was unprecedented. She always worried about money. It was her constant background anxiety, but for 3 days, nothing. Just calm. She kept doing the practice, now with more faith, more trust, more openness. Night 14, 2 weeks in. She got a call at work. A company she'd sent a resume to 6 months ago, a position she'd thought she'd never hear back about. They wanted to interview her. Something about the way they'd restructured and now her specific skill set was exactly what they needed. She interviewed the next day. They offered her the job, 25% more than she was making. Better benefits, room for advancement. She gave notice at her old job that same day. Night 18. 3 days before completing the 21 nights, her ex-husband, who had been behind on child support for years, suddenly paid everything he owed. Just called and said he'd gotten a bonus and wanted to clear his debts. She'd been trying to get that money through lawyers for years with no success. And now, out of nowhere, it appeared. Thousands of dollars, enough to catch up bills and still have money left to start a small emergency fund. Night 21. The final night. She lay down and realized she felt completely different than she had 20 days ago. Not just about money, though that had definitely shifted. About everything. She felt capable. She felt provided for. She felt certain that whatever she needed would show up. She felt wealthy in a way that had nothing to do with her bank balance and everything to do with her consciousness. She'd been transformed from the inside out. But here's the most important part of the story. She didn't stop at 21 nights. She kept going. Because she realized this wasn't just a 21-day fix. This was a way of life. Every night for the next year, she did the substitution practice before sleep. Every morning, she did the morning decree, and her life continued to transform. The job led to a promotion. The emergency fund grew into actual savings. She started investing. She paid off debt. She bought a small condo. Her kids saw her transformation and started practicing substitution themselves. Her whole family's consciousness shifted. 5 years later, she was unrecognizable, not just financially, though she was doing better than she'd ever dreamed possible, but in every way. More peaceful, more joyful, more generous, more alive. And she would say to people, "It started with 21 nights of substituting thoughts before sleep. That's all. 21 nights. But those 21 nights cracked open a door that had been closed my whole life. The door to prosperity consciousness. And once that door opened, I walked through it, and I never went back. I can never go back, because I'm not the same person. I'm literally not the same person I was before. My brain is different. My consciousness is different. Therefore, my life is different. This is what's available to you. Not just 21 nights of practice, though that alone will create significant transformation, but a complete shift in identity, in consciousness, in how you relate to money and abundance and provision. You're starting that shift tonight. You're opening that door right now. And over the next 20 nights and beyond, you'll walk through that door into a completely new way of being. Let me guide you now through a final powerful practice, a practice of complete surrender and trust. Because ultimately, manifestation isn't about controlling outcomes. It's about aligning with the flow of universal abundance and trusting that flow to deliver what you need when you need it in the form that's best for you. So let's release all control, all force, all anxiety, and simply surrender into trust. I release my need to know exactly how money will come. I trust that infinite intelligence knows the perfect channels and is opening them now. I release my need to force outcomes. I trust that ease and flow are available to me. I release my anxiety about the future. I trust that I'm provided for today, tomorrow, and always. I release my attachment to specific timelines. I trust that everything comes in perfect timing. Not too early, not too late, but exactly when it should. I release my fear that it won't work for me. I trust that consciousness creates circumstance for everyone, including me, especially me. I release my skepticism. I trust the process even when I can't see the evidence yet. I release my need to control every detail. I trust divine intelligence to orchestrate my prosperity in ways better than I could plan. I surrender to abundance. I surrender to provision. I surrender to ease. I surrender to flow. I surrender to trust. I surrender to faith. I surrender to the truth that I am taken care of. I am blessed. I am provided for. I am wealthy in consciousness. Therefore, I am wealthy in circumstance. I surrender completely. And in that surrender, I am free. Free to receive. Free to prosper. Free to live abundantly. Feel that surrender. Feel that release. Feel that trust. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to control every variable. You don't have to force outcomes through sheer willpower. You just have to align your consciousness with abundance. Trust the process and allow the universe to deliver through whatever channels it chooses. That's all. That's everything. And you're doing that right now, in this moment, as you rest here in the final minutes of your first night. You've spent 4 hours immersed in prosperity consciousness. You've substituted thousands of thoughts. You've absorbed stories of transformation. You've affirmed new truths. You've visualized abundant outcomes. You've released struggle and embraced ease. You've surrendered control and claimed trust. You've done the work. Now you get to rest and let the work work. Let's affirm one final time your new identity. The identity that's been installing itself in your subconscious all night long. I am a wealthy person. Not trying to become wealthy. Already wealthy in consciousness, which is the only place that matters. I am prosperous. I am abundant. I am provided for. I am financially free. I am divinely guided. I am perfectly positioned. I am opening to receive. I am grateful for my abundance. I am peaceful about money. I am certain of provision. I am blessed beyond measure. This is who I am. This is my truth. This is my reality. And this identity is now part of your subconscious programming. When you wake tomorrow morning, you might not consciously remember everything you heard tonight, but your subconscious remembers. Your brain has recorded it all. Your neural pathways have been restructured around it. And that subconscious programming will guide your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your choices, your behaviors throughout tomorrow and every day after. You'll think different thoughts automatically. You'll make different choices naturally. You'll take different actions intuitively. You'll create different results inevitably. And those different results will become your new circumstances, your new normal, your new life. All because you changed consciousness. All because you substituted poverty thinking with prosperity thinking. All because you used the power of sleep to reprogram your deepest mind. Now, as we approach the very end of this first night, I want you to imagine yourself completing all 21 nights. It's the morning of January 23rd, 2026. You've just woken up after your final night of practice, and you lie there for a moment taking stock of how you feel. And you realize you feel completely different than you did 21 days ago. The anxiety is gone, the fear is gone, the worry is gone. In their place is peace, certainty, trust, faith. You absolutely know that you're provided for, that abundance is yours, that money flows to you, that opportunities are everywhere. You know this not because you're trying to convince yourself, but because it's just true. It's your reality now. You get up and go about your day, and you notice that your behavior has changed. You're not checking your bank balance compulsively anymore. You're not avoiding bills out of fear. You're not making financial decisions from panic. You're calm, clear, confident. You see opportunities you would have missed before. You say yes to things you would have been too afraid to try before. You invest, you spend, you save, you give. All from a place of wisdom and abundance rather than fear and scarcity. And over the next weeks and months, you watch as your external circumstances shift to match your internal transformation. More money coming in, better opportunities appearing, financial stress dissolving, actual tangible, measurable improvement in your financial situation. Not because you worked harder or hustled more, though you may work and create, but because your consciousness changed, and consciousness creates circumstance. It's law. It's reliable. It works. And a year from now, January of 2027, you look back at this moment, this night of January 2nd, 2026, when you started this journey, and you're amazed at how much has changed. Your income, your savings, your investments, your freedom, your peace, your joy, your generosity, your entire relationship with money. Everything transformed. And it all started with 21 nights of substituting thoughts before sleep. 21 nights of reprogramming your subconscious. 21 nights that changed everything. This is your future. This is what's available. This is what's already done in consciousness, just waiting to unfold in time and space. Hold this vision. Trust this truth. Know that it's real. Because it is. Consciousness creates circumstance. You've changed consciousness tonight. Circumstance must follow. It's inevitable. It's guaranteed. It's law. Let me offer you now some final affirmations that will carry you through the rest of this night and into tomorrow. These words will loop in your subconscious even after I stop speaking. Continuing to work, continuing to program, continuing to transform you as you sleep. I am wealthy. Money flows to me constantly. I am provided for abundantly. Opportunities come to me easily. I trust divine timing. I surrender to the flow. I embrace ease and grace. I release all struggle. I choose peace over panic. I choose faith over fear. I choose abundance over lack. I choose prosperity over poverty. I am transformed. I am renewed. I am wealthy in consciousness. I am wealthy in circumstance. All is well. All is done. I am blessed. These words are installing themselves deep in your subconscious right now. They're becoming your automatic thoughts, your default settings, your new normal, and when you wake tomorrow, they'll be there, guiding you, informing your choices, creating your reality. Tomorrow night, night 2, you'll return here, and we'll go deeper. Build on what was installed tonight. Strengthen the new pathways. Weaken the old patterns further. Night after night, building, deepening, strengthening, until the transformation is complete and irreversible. But for now, for tonight, you've done beautiful work. You've begun the journey. You've taken the first step. You've opened the door to prosperity consciousness. And that door will never fully close again. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you now know. Consciousness creates circumstance. Substitution changes consciousness. Therefore, substitution changes circumstance. You've learned this tonight, not just intellectually, but experientially, in your actual brain structure, in your actual neural pathways. So rest now in the completion of this first night. Rest in satisfaction of work well done. Rest in trust that everything is unfolding perfectly. Rest in certainty that you're being transformed. Rest in peace knowing you're provided for. Rest deeply, sleep completely, trust absolutely. And when you wake tomorrow morning, remember the morning decree. Before your feet hit the floor, before you check your phone, before you start your mental to-do list, speak these words. I wake as a wealthy person. Divine supply has worked through my sleeping mind. Today, abundance manifests naturally in my life. Set your intention for the day. Program your consciousness from the moment you wake. Start as you mean to go on. Then move through your day with this new consciousness. When negative thoughts about money come, and they will because old patterns take time to fully dissolve, substitute immediately. Don't let them take root. Don't follow them down the rabbit hole. Just calmly, quickly, substitute. I can't afford this becomes I am abundantly provided for. I don't have enough becomes I have more than enough. This is hard becomes ease is available to me. Every substitution strengthens the new pathway. Every substitution weakens the old one. And then tomorrow night, you return here for night 2. Same practice, same process, but building on tonight's foundation. Going deeper, installing more permanently. Creating more transformation. Night by night, you're becoming a new person, a wealthy person, a prosperous person, an abundant person. Not in some distant future, but right now, in consciousness, which is the only place that matters because consciousness creates all other places. The final minutes of this night are upon us now. Soon, you'll sleep through the rest of the night without my voice, just in pure rest, pure delta wave regeneration, pure subconscious processing of everything you've absorbed over these 4 hours. And that silent sleep is just as important as the guided sleep has been. Your brain needs time to integrate, to process, to make permanent all the changes that have been initiated. So I'll leave you now with a final blessing, a final affirmation, a final truth to carry you through the rest of this night and into all the nights and days to come. You are beloved by the universe. You are supported by infinite intelligence. You are provided for by divine abundance. You are wealthy in consciousness. You are prosperous in circumstance. You are transformed at the deepest levels. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. A person who lives in abundance, thinks in prosperity, acts from plenty, experiences wealth in every form. This is your truth. This is your reality. This is your life now. Accept it. Receive it. Embody it. Live it. You are wealthy. Not will be. Are. Right now, in this moment, in consciousness which creates all circumstances. You are wealthy. Claim it. Own it. Be it. Good night. Sleep deeply. Rest completely. Transform totally. And when you wake as a new person. 1 night down, 20 more to go. Building on tonight's foundation. Creating complete transformation. Manifesting abundant life. May you sleep in peace. May you rest in trust. May you wake in prosperity. May money flow to you from expected and unexpected sources. May opportunities appear everywhere you look. May divine intelligence guide your every financial decision. May abundance be your constant reality. May prosperity consciousness be your permanent state. May wealth be yours now and always. It's done. It's complete. You are wealthy. You are blessed. You are provided for. You are transformed. Rest now. Sleep now. Prosper now. All is well. All is perfect. All is abundant. Good night. I am wealthy. Money flows to me. I am provided for. I am abundant. I am blessed. I am prosperous. I am free. I am wealthy. Money flows to me. I am provided for. I am abundant. I am blessed. I am prosperous. I am free. I am wealthy. Money flows to me. I am provided for. I am abundant. You're still sleeping deeply now. And if you've remained asleep through these past 4 hours, your subconscious has been absorbing everything without any conscious interference whatsoever. This is the most profound level of transformation possible. Your brain has been in continuous delta wave sleep, rebuilding itself, rewiring itself, transforming itself based on everything you've heard tonight. And we're going to use these final minutes to go even deeper, to seal in everything that's been installed, to make this transformation absolutely permanent and irreversible. Think of this final portion as the foundation being set in concrete. Everything we've built over the past 4 hours is now being locked into place, hardened, made permanent. By the time you wake tomorrow morning, this won't be fresh programming that could easily be overwritten. This will be solid, established, permanent new consciousness that nothing can shake. I want to revisit something fundamental, something so important that it bears repeating until it's carved into your subconscious at the deepest possible level. You are not your circumstances. Your circumstances are not you. Your current bank balance, your current income, your current debts, your current financial stress, none of that is who you are. Those are just temporary conditions created by temporary consciousness. And consciousness can change in an instant, which means circumstances must eventually change to match. There was a teaching Florence Scovel Shinn gave that many people misunderstood at first. She said, "Treat the invisible as real, and the visible will become real." People would say, "But that's backwards. The visible is what's real. My empty bank account is real. My unpaid bills are real. How can I treat invisible abundance as more real than visible lack?" And Florence would explain patiently that they had it backwards. The visible is temporary, changeable, just a reflection. The invisible consciousness is permanent, causal, the actual reality. So when you treat invisible abundance consciousness as your true reality and treat visible lack circumstances as temporary illusions that are already changing, you align yourself with truth. And truth always wins over illusion eventually. So right now, in your deepest sleep, your subconscious is accepting this truth. The invisible is real. Your prosperity consciousness is real. The visible circumstances are just catching up. They're not your reality. They're not who you are. They're just outdated reflections of old consciousness, and they're already dissolving, already shifting, already transforming to match your new consciousness. Let me tell you about something that often happens around day 7 or 8 of this practice, because I want you to be prepared for it so you don't misinterpret it when it comes. Often, about a week into this practice, people have what Florence called the test. Something happens that seems to contradict everything you've been affirming. Maybe an unexpected bill arrives. Maybe a client cancels. Maybe something breaks that costs money to fix. And it's very tempting to think, "See, this isn't working. Things are actually getting worse. I should give up." But that's not what's happening. What's happening is that the old consciousness, the old programming, the old energy is being shaken loose, and it has to surface to be released. Think of it like cleaning out a closet. When you first start pulling things out, the room looks messier than when you started. But that doesn't mean the cleaning isn't working. It means things that were hidden and stuck are now coming out so they can be removed permanently. The test is the universe asking, are you serious about this new consciousness? Or will you fall back into the old consciousness at the first sign of difficulty? If you panic, if you let the circumstance dictate your consciousness instead of letting consciousness dictate circumstance, you fail the test and stay stuck in the old pattern. But if you hold steady, if you keep substituting, if you refuse to let temporary visible circumstances shake your invisible consciousness transformation, you pass the test. The old pattern releases completely, and breakthrough comes immediately after. There was a man who was on day 8 of his practice when his car got towed. Not just parked illegally and towed, but repossessed because he'd missed payments. He called Florence in a panic. Everything's falling apart. This practice made things worse. And Florence said very calmly, no. The car being repossessed was already in motion before you started the practice. That was old consciousness manifesting. But how you respond to this right now determines whether you stay in old consciousness or complete the shift to new consciousness. Don't let this circumstance control your thoughts. Control your thoughts despite this circumstance. He struggled with it, but he did what she said. He kept doing his substitution practice. I don't have a car. I'm screwed. became, I am divinely transported. I have everything I need. I can't get to work, became, perfect solutions are appearing now. This is a disaster, became, this is working out for my highest good. It felt insane to say these things when his car was literally being driven away by a tow truck, but he said them anyway. 3 days later, day 11, his employer offered him a work-from-home arrangement. He didn't need the car anymore. Day 14, a relative who was moving out of state gave him their car for free. Better car than the one that got repossessed. Day 16, he got a raise that more than covered the payments on the car he no longer needed. He passed the test. He held to new consciousness despite old circumstances. And new circumstances manifested to match the new consciousness. So when your test comes, and it probably will around day 7 or 8, remember this story. Remember that it's not evidence of failure. It's evidence that the work is working, that old energy is being released, that you're being tested to see if you're really committed to the transformation. Hold steady. Keep substituting. Refuse to let circumstances dictate consciousness. And watch as you pass the test and breakthrough appears. Your subconscious is absorbing this teaching right now. When day 7 or 8 comes and something challenging happens, you won't panic. You'll remember. You'll recognize it as the test. You'll hold to your new consciousness, and you'll pass with flying colors. Let me guide you deeper now into the felt sense of prosperity consciousness. Because transformation isn't just about changing thoughts. It's about changing how you feel in your body, how you move through the world, what you radiate energetically. Prosperity consciousness has a specific feeling to it. It feels like calm. It feels like certainty. It feels like openness. It feels like trust. It feels like ease. It feels like peace. Poverty consciousness, on the other hand, feels like anxiety. It feels like contraction. It feels like fear. It feels like struggle. It feels like stress. It feels like closing down, protecting, hoarding, worrying. You know this feeling. You've lived in this feeling, but you're leaving it behind now. So even in your sleep, I want you to tune into how your body feels. Notice if there's any tension anywhere, any tightness in your chest or stomach or shoulders. That's old poverty consciousness stored in your body. And as you breathe slowly and deeply, even in sleep, that tension releases. It dissolves. It flows out of your body like water draining from a tub. And as it releases, prosperity consciousness flows in to fill the space. Prosperity consciousness feels like expansion in your chest, like your heart is open and relaxed, like your shoulders are down and easy, like your jaw is unclenched, like your stomach is soft and peaceful, like you're safe, like you're provided for, like you can breathe fully and deeply without that constant low-level anxiety. This is what prosperity feels like in the body. And you're installing this felt sense right now as you sleep. When you wake tomorrow, you might notice you feel different physically. Your body might feel lighter. Your breathing might feel easier. You might have less tension. That's not imagination. That's real. You've released poverty consciousness from your cellular memory and installed prosperity consciousness instead. Your body knows you're wealthy now. Your nervous system is regulated around abundance instead of dysregulated around lack. Let's affirm this bodily transformation. My body knows I'm provided for. My cells are saturated with prosperity consciousness. My nervous system is calm and regulated. I breathe easily, deeply, peacefully. My heart is open to receive abundance. My hands are open to accept wealth. My entire being radiates prosperity. I feel rich. I feel abundant. I feel wealthy in my bones, in my blood, in every cell of my body. This embodiment of prosperity is crucial because you can affirm wealth all day long, but if your body is still holding poverty stress, if you're still breathing shallow and tense, if you're still contracted and closed, you're sending mixed signals. The words say wealth, but the body says poverty, and the body's message is often stronger because it's subconscious and constant. But now your body is learning a new message, a message of safety, provision, abundance. Your nervous system is rewiring itself from fight or flight poverty stress to rest and digest prosperity peace. And when your body embodies prosperity, when you carry yourself with the calm certainty of a wealthy person. The world responds to that energy. Opportunities come to people who radiate abundance consciousness. Money flows to people who feel prosperous. This is energetic law, and you're aligning with it right now. I want to talk about something Florence called scientific prayer, though it's not prayer in the traditional sense. It's more like programming, like placing an order with the universe, like instructing your subconscious about what to create. Scientific prayer has a specific structure, and understanding this structure helps you manifest more powerfully. First, you recognize the truth. God, source, universe, whatever term you prefer, is infinite abundance. There is no lack in the divine. There is only unlimited supply, unlimited resources, unlimited possibility. This is truth. This is the foundation. Second, you claim your connection to that infinite source. You are part of the divine. You are not separate from infinite abundance. You are an expression of it, a channel for it, entitled to it by virtue of existing. You don't have to earn it or prove you deserve it. You're already connected to infinite supply simply by being alive. Third, you state what you're manifesting, not as a request or a plea, but as a declaration. I have abundant wealth. Not, please give me, but I have. You're not begging. You're claiming. You're stating what already exists in consciousness, knowing it must manifest in circumstance. Fourth, you give thanks as if it's already done. Thank you for my prosperity. Not please, but thank you, because in consciousness, it is already done. The invisible is complete. You're just waiting for the visible to catch up. And gratitude is the frequency that speeds up the manifestation process. Fifth, you release it. You let it go. You don't obsess or worry or keep checking to see if it's working. You trust completely that consciousness creates circumstance. You've changed consciousness. Therefore, circumstance must change. It's law. It's done. You release it and move on with your life in the certainty of provision. So a complete scientific prayer for prosperity would sound like this. Infinite abundance is the truth of the universe. I am one with that abundance, inseparable from divine supply. I have wealth. I have prosperity. I have financial freedom now. Thank you for my abundance. Thank you for money flowing to me constantly. Thank you for being provided for so generously. It is done. I release this to divine intelligence to manifest in perfect timing through perfect channels. And so it is. That's not begging. That's not hoping. That's programming. That's instructing. That's claiming what's already yours. And when you do this type of scientific prayer, especially right before sleep, it goes straight into your subconscious as a command that must be executed. Your subconscious doesn't question it, doesn't doubt it, doesn't resist it. It just says, okay, this is the new programming, and goes to work making it real. You're going to start using this structure in your nightly practice starting tomorrow, night 2. After you do your substitutions, after you do your gratitude, you'll do a scientific prayer. State the truth of infinite abundance. Claim your connection to it. Declare your prosperity as already done. Give thanks for it. Release it. This 5-step process is incredibly powerful when done at the edge of sleep. Your subconscious is learning this structure right now. When you sit down tomorrow night to do your practice, this structure will feel natural and familiar because it's already been installed. You'll remember these 5 steps almost automatically, and you'll use them to powerfully program your reality. Let me share one more principle that ties everything together. Florence taught that there's a divine plan for everyone, a perfect life that's meant to unfold for you specifically. And part of that divine plan includes prosperity. God, universe, source doesn't want you to struggle financially. That's not part of the plan. Ease is part of the plan. Abundance is part of the plan. Provision is part of the plan. You fulfilling your purpose and having all the resources you need to do that, that's the plan. But here's the thing. You have free will. And if you choose through your consciousness to create poverty, struggle, lack, the universe has to honor that choice. It can't override your free will. So if you consistently think thoughts of poverty, if you hold poverty consciousness, the universe says, okay, if that's what you choose, I'll help you create that. It's not punishment, it's just law. Consciousness creates circumstance. Whatever consciousness you hold, that's what manifests. But when you shift your consciousness to prosperity, when you choose through your thoughts and beliefs to align with the abundant divine plan, the universe says, oh good, finally, you're choosing what I wanted for you all along. Now I can release all the abundance I've been holding for you. And floodgates open, channels open, opportunities appear, money flows. Not because you earned it through suffering, but because you aligned with the truth of who you are and what's meant for you. Your divine plan includes prosperity. Accept this, claim this, align with this. You're not asking for something that's not meant for you. You're claiming something that's been waiting for you your whole life, something you've been blocking through poverty consciousness, something that's now becoming available because you're shifting to prosperity consciousness. And here's something beautiful. When you prosper, when you step into your divine plan of abundance, it doesn't just help you. It helps everyone around you. You employ people, you support businesses, you give to causes, you help family and friends, you fund your purpose and mission in the world. Your prosperity is not selfish. Your prosperity is service. The more you have, the more you can give. The wealthier you are, the more good you can do. So don't feel guilty about wanting wealth. Don't feel bad about manifesting money. Don't think prosperity is unspiritual. Prosperity is deeply spiritual when it comes from alignment with divine plan and is used with wisdom and generosity. You're not manifesting wealth so you can hoard it and live in selfish luxury. You're manifesting wealth so you can live your purpose, bless others, and do the good work you're meant to do in this world. And there's nothing more spiritual than that. Your subconscious is accepting this truth right now. Prosperity is spiritual. Wealth is part of the divine plan. You're not being greedy or selfish by wanting money. You're aligning with your purpose. And as this truth sinks in, any guilt or shame around wanting wealth dissolves. You feel clean and clear about prospering. You feel good about manifesting money. You feel aligned with divine will. This is freedom. We're approaching the end now of this extended session, nearly 4.5 hours of continuous transformation. And I want to leave you with something very specific to carry you through the next 20 days and beyond. A core truth that's simpler than everything we've discussed, but contains all of it. Ready? Here it is. Consciousness creates circumstance. That's it. That's everything. Every single teaching we've covered tonight comes back to this one truth. Consciousness creates circumstance. Your thoughts create your reality. Your beliefs shape your experience. Your consciousness manifests your circumstances. Change consciousness, change circumstance. It's not complicated. It's not difficult to understand. The only challenge is consistency, holding the new consciousness long enough for circumstances to catch up. That's what these 21 nights are for. Consistent, daily, nightly reprogramming until prosperity consciousness becomes your automatic default. Until you don't have to try to think abundant thoughts. You just do, naturally, unconsciously, constantly. And when that happens, when prosperity consciousness is your default, prosperity circumstances become your reality. Automatically, inevitably, permanently. You're building that foundation right now. Night 1 is done. Tomorrow brings night 2, then 3, then 7, then 14, then 21. Each night building on the previous. Each night strengthening the new. Each night weakening the old. Until the transformation is complete and irreversible. And here's what I want you to know with absolute certainty. This works. Not might work. Not could work if you're lucky. Works, period. Consciousness creates circumstance. This is law. As reliable as gravity, as dependable as mathematics. If you change consciousness, circumstance must change. There's no way around it. It's not up for debate. It's not dependent on whether you believe it strongly enough. It's law. It happens automatically. The only variable is time. How long it takes for the visible to catch up to the invisible. For some people, manifestations come very quickly, within days. For others, it takes weeks or months. It depends on how deep the old programming was, how much resistance needs to be cleared, how open you are to receiving. But it always works eventually, if you stay consistent with the consciousness shift. Always. Without exception. So trust the process. Trust the law. Trust that consciousness creates circumstance. Trust that you're changing consciousness right now. Trust that circumstance must therefore change. Trust that your prosperity is not a hope or a wish. It's an inevitability. It's already done in consciousness. It's just a matter of time before you see it in circumstances. Let's seal this first night with final affirmations that will loop in your subconscious through the rest of your sleep and into tomorrow. I am wealthy. I am prosperous. I am abundant. I am provided for. I am financially free. I am divinely guided. I am perfectly positioned. I am receiving now. I am grateful. I am blessed. I am transformed. I am new. I am wealthy in consciousness. I am wealthy in circumstance. It is done. It is complete. I am wealthy. Money flows to me now, from expected sources and unexpected sources, through channels I can see and channels I cannot see, easily, abundantly, constantly. I attract wealth automatically. I receive money gratefully. I use money wisely. I save money naturally. I invest money intelligently. I give money generously. I am excellent with money. Money loves me. I love money. We flow together naturally. I release all poverty consciousness now. Every belief in lack is dissolving. Every thought of struggle is being replaced. Every fear about money is being released. I am free. Free from financial anxiety. Free from money stress. Free from poverty programming. Free to prosper. Free to receive. Free to be wealthy. I am free. I embody prosperity. My body knows I'm provided for. My cells vibrate at the frequency of abundance. My energy radiates wealth. I carry myself with the calm certainty of a prosperous person. The world responds to my prosperity consciousness. Opportunities come to me. People want to give me money. Resources locate me. I am a magnet for wealth. I trust divine timing. Everything comes when it should. Not too early, not too late. I trust divine intelligence. My prosperity is being orchestrated in ways better than I could plan. I trust divine supply. Infinite abundance is available to me always. I trust divine plan. Prosperity is part of my purpose. I trust completely. Consciousness creates circumstance. This is truth. This is law. I have changed consciousness. Therefore, circumstance must change. It's inevitable. It's guaranteed. It's done. I am wealthy now, not will be. Am. Right now, in this moment. In consciousness, which is the only reality that matters. I am wealthy. I accept this. I claim this. I embody this. I live this. I am wealthy. Thank you. Thank you for my abundance. Thank you for money flowing to me. Thank you for opportunities appearing. Thank you for provision. Thank you for wealth. Thank you for prosperity. Thank you for financial freedom. Thank you for transformation. Thank you for tonight. Thank you for these 4 hours of deep reprogramming. Thank you for 20 more nights to come. Thank you for complete transformation. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And so it is. It is done. It is complete. You are wealthy. You are transformed. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. A person who lives in abundance, thinks in prosperity, acts from plenty, experiences wealth in every form. Rest now in the deep knowing that profound work has been done tonight. Rest in certainty that you're different now than you were 4.5 hours ago. Rest in trust that the next 20 nights will build on this foundation until the transformation is permanent and irreversible. Rest in peace, knowing you're provided for. You're guided. You're blessed. You're wealthy. Sleep deeply through the rest of this night. Let your subconscious continue processing everything you've absorbed. Let your brain continue rewiring itself. Let your body continue embodying prosperity. And when you wake in the morning, wake as a wealthy person. Wake with the morning decree on your lips. Wake with prosperity consciousness as your automatic setting. Wake ready to live day one of your transformed life. Good night. Sleep in abundance. Wake in prosperity. You are wealthy. You are blessed. You are transformed. It's done. It's complete. All is well. Rest now. Dream now. Prosper now. Tomorrow comes with new opportunities, new blessings, new evidence of your transformation. But for now, simply rest, simply sleep, simply be. You are wealthy. You are provided for. You are loved by the universe. All is well. Good night.